ready to hear some noise tonight. You're just seconds away from Let's Go Blues Radio.
No doubt about it, eh? You're listening to Curt, Bill, and Jeff on Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey fan podcast. Take it away, boys.
Come on, St. Louis hockey fans, stand up and cheer. The Blues are back strong. This is our year. It's the Blues' turn now.
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah, it's the Blues' turn now. With that Al McKinnon slap shot, you know we can't lose. We are St. Louis, the home of the Blues. Come on, St. Louis. Come on, St. Louis. Come on, St. Louis.
Let's do that hockey.
Come on, St. Louis. All over the hockey universe, the note is the news. Everybody's digging on the St. Louis.
Welcome to Season 7, Episode 17 of Let's Go Blues Radio. We're live on Wednesday, October 17th, 2018. This is franchise episode number 150. It's a milestone episode all time, and this one is a live post-game show. We've done a few of these, and we're going to do another one tonight. My name is Curt Price. My Twitter handle is at Curt Price. And Bill Day's Twitter handle is at Billy Blue Note, and Jeff Ponder's Twitter handle is at jponder94. If you want to send the show a tweet, send it to at LGB Radio, and we'll try to read it live on the air. If you want to talk hockey live with us on the show, we'll try to open it up later for listeners to join us and talk some hockey. So, and you can also follow us on Instagram now. So just search for Let's Go Blues Radio on Instagram and give us a follow. We put, it's fairly interesting, I think.
It's more than just beer.
It is more than just beer. It is a lot more than just beer.
Bill, what are you calling it? Insty? That's what you call it, right?
Insty.
No.
I do believe the kids call it Insta.
Yeah, no.
I don't call it Insta because I feel like I'm trying to be like 18.
Right. You're the old man trying to be hipster.
Yeah, I would not do that. I would not. I'm not going to say Insta because then it's like, oh, who are you? You can't. You're not 18. You can't say Insta.
Right.
Man, okay. Mini rant before a show full of rants. You know what drives me crazy? When new, older artists, like 40s and 50s, release new music and they use today's lingo. I don't know why that bothers me, but Eminem has a couple songs where he says, why you got to be so basic. And there's a couple other things he says, I can't remember, that I'm just like, ugh, come on, man. You're too old for that.
You know what bugs me? Was when say the nightly news people, like the 50-year-old news anchor.
Lester Holt.
Or somebody like Lester Holt or something talks about a video going viral. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah. Or if they show a video, oh, let's see if that video goes viral. No, don't use the lingo. Don't use the young person lingo. You're in your 50s. It wasn't a thing when you were hip, so you can't use it now.
Now you're on the trolley.
Yeah. Please check out the letsgoblues.com shop and consider buying a reasonably priced shirt, mug, or sticker. All those proceeds go back into the show. We are, I believe, exactly 1 month away from the Stanley Ponder Cup tournament. Jeff, is that right?
That is correct. And we still have a lot of spots to fill. How about you guys? You going to play?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I haven't signed up yet, but I think so. I've been mulling it over. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to play or not. I haven't played. I literally have not played since the last tournament.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But you're in such great shape.
I am in such great shape. Ripped. The kids like to say ripped nowadays, right?
Yes. You're definitely not basic.
No, I'm not. Is
that
good or bad?
Yeah, I literally have not played since 2 Stanley Ponder Cup tournaments ago. But that's only because I'm waiting for my contract demands to be met.
for a charity tournament.
Yeah, you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys. Those players that have not retired yet, and you're looking for a contract, and you can't find one anywhere. And well, I'm going to announce my retirement. I'm like, well, you're kind of like nobody wants you, so it's like you're. It needs to be another word for besides like retiring. It says to me like, oh, okay, well, you could play some more, but you choose to retire. Someone will take you. But when no one wants you and you're retiring when you don't want to, it's kind of a weird. It needs to be a word for that.
I wish somebody would come out and say, not that I'm retiring after a couple of years, but maybe say, I'm announcing my unemployment.
My permanent unemployment.
No, so get back into the Ponder Cup tournament. Yes, we are exactly 1 month away. It is November 17th. That is a Saturday at Queenie Park, Midwest Sport Hockey. The beer will be flowing, and there will be a Blues game that night. I believe they're playing the Sharks in San Jose. So, yes, you will want to drink beer if we keep seeing the same roster out there. Yeah, it's a good tournament. We've got about 20. I'm not going to quote this right, but I think we have 24 spots left. Goalie spots all taken. And, yeah, more players, the better. I mean, you do not have to be an all-star. You don't have to be a first-timer. It's people of all ranges of skill. And we have a little draft for all the players that between 5 guys, we have 5 captains. And, yeah, we just pick off of the questionnaire we have everyone fill out, and usually the teams are pretty even because of that. So, yeah, I always have a great time with it. I always end up losing except for the first year, so I'm usually drunk by about 10 o'clock. So that's always fun. But, yeah, it's a good time. A lot of raffles this year. We've got some really cool ones. We got a Tarasenko jersey, Erie Otters, Connor McDavid jersey, and then a couple other things that I'm still working on, but there's about 7 or 8 things, big things for sure, that I have. And you can check that out over at dropinstl.com. Go over to the 2018 SPCM Tourney tab. Scroll down to where it says donate if you want to play. Click that button. Pay your $50 through PayPal. That reserves your spot. And if you just want to come, like I said, Saturday, November 17th, Queenie Park, Midwest Sport Hockey. We get started at 2 o'clock.
You know, this is the 4th one, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So I've played in the first 3, and I just wanted to say that the teams that I've been on, we were a shootout goal away from going to the final the first season. We won the championship the second time, and the third one we lost in the final. So The teams I've been on, we've done pretty well.
So my rankings for my team was 1st, 5th, 2nd. So and unfortunately, the guy who helps me run this and a listener of the show, Jason Miller, every year he's a goalie. Every single year he has finished 2nd. And this year he blew out his ACL. So he is out. So he won't even be playing.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the picture you posted on Twitter. I don't know if it was last week, but man, get better soon, Jason. That looks ugly. Yikes!
It's one of those moments too where it kind of makes you realize your own mortality. I mean, I've known Jason for 11, 12 years, and I'm sure people who listen to the show, have had moments like this where you just, you feel invincible. Like I'm 33 years old, and I've had injuries here and there, broken bones and broken fingers and concussions here and there. But, I'm never out for too long. But then something happens like that to someone you've played with forever. And it's just like, yeah, that could be me. I'm getting to an age where I have to be careful. And it's a humbling moment. And it makes me say, oh, God, hopefully that is never me.
Yeah, not too long ago, Frank Hart, one of the goalies that I think he's registered a couple times. I don't think he's played.
No,
but he's the goalie we play with, and a guy I've known for a long time. He blew out his ACL last year, so I think he just finally got back.
Yeah,
playing goal.
Yeah, and the Sunday morning pickup game that we used to play in. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how recently you have. I gave it up about
It's been over a year since I've been there.
I think it was a year ago. Right about this time a year ago that I stopped playing with those guys. But yeah, he right when Frank's coming back, they can't get enough interest to go out Sunday morning anymore. So.
I've not read the okay.
Yeah,
I did read this. They're going to keep trying it, but
they're taking I think they're going to take a few weeks off Because I think Frank's back in China. So
Yeah, he is back in
China.
China. Yep.
Gina.
I'd start going again. I'd start playing again, I guess, maybe on Sundays. I don't know. Every other Sunday. Not every Sunday.
Every given Sunday.
The official beers of episode number 150. This is like kind of a semi-milestone episode. 150. That's a number.
I wish
It's
I
a
would.
shame.
Yeah, I wish I would have known beforehand. I would have gotten a better beer.
You should see mine. Did you see mine? I'll show.
I heard that in the last moment of the game, Mike Yo told the Blues, "Hey, this is a milestone episode for Let's Go Blues Radio. Make sure you give it all your all.
Make sure you make it memorable."
Yeah, and
It
they
worked.
did. They
It worked.
did.
Bill, what you got?
I have the cheapest beer I've ever drank on this show. It's it's from Trader Joe's. I was in there the other night. I saw on the shelf Imperial Mexican Stout with chilies, cacao nibs,
It
and
sounds good.
cinnamon.
It sounds good.
great.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It's an Abraxas clone.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. $3.99. $3.99.
How many is that? Okay.
It's a bomber.
Yeah, it's a bomber.
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
that's like half price at least.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, not
It-
very good, huh?
It is.
What's the ABV?
It's not published, somewhere around 10%.
Oh, well,
And
at least there's that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that takes over here soon. There's I don't know, mild chili heat to it, but nothing much. Cinnamon, way too much cinnamon.
Mm.
But it pairs well with
Yeah, you brought
The
these cinnamon
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 yogurt
yogurt pretzels.
Yeah.
Those are good.
So, but yeah, it's like I said in my tweet, very appropriate for tonight. Cheap and pretty awful.
That works. Jeff, what do
Actually,
you got?
if you want to say that it was perfect for tonight, it should have been overpriced and awful.
That's if I would have,
Right.
gone there again for this. I didn't make the trek back to Montreal.
What's
Thank God.
What's the most expensive? What's the most expensive beer you've had? Can you recall?
The worst?
The
most
the priciest beer that was just god awful that you didn't like, if you can recall.
I'm gonna say Founders Double Trouble. It's like $17 for a 4-pack, and I bought it a couple years ago. Didn't like it. Came back around this year. Thought, I'll try it again. No. And it's more of a style thing for me. But yeah, it was the priciest beer that I was disappointed by.
I think I don't know if this was a pricey beer or not that I had. It was I had a number of beers, so I wasn't really, I don't think I was aware of what I was paying for beer at this point, but I was out in the Grove and I had a sour beer. And I don't do sour beers. And I wasn't thinking when I asked, what, because I saw the tapper handle. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard that beer from beforehand. It was a passion fruit something or whatever. I thought, oh, that's I can go for a sweeter beer or something right now. And I got it. I'm like, oh, it's a sour, and it wasn't my thing. And I like, oh no, it's not. I'm not saying it's a bad beer. It's just not my thing. And it was probably like, I don't know, $6 or $7
for a pour.
Yeah, I guess something like that.
So Friar Tuck, I that's where I go typically, and which if they want to sponsor the show, you can tweet us. So I went to Friar Tuck about 6 months ago, and my wife likes the fruitier beers, which every now and then I like a fruitier one too. You can insert joke here, but as Curt and Bill look at each other,
Insert fruit here.
okay. I was gonna say that we got a strawberry jam beer once, and I hated it. It tasted like, I'm not kidding, if you took a jar of like jam, mixed it with half peanut butter, and then poured beer into it, like Bud Light. It just did not taste good at all. I don't remember who the manufacturer was, but my wife loved it. She thought it was great. She's like, oh, we'll have to get this again. I'm like, ugh, okay, well, you can drink that. I'm not going to touch it.
Are you guys like ESB fans at all?
No.
Me either.
No.
Jeff, you like
No.
extra special bitters?
No.
Yeah, the first time I had one was years ago.
Yeah,
I
was
well, you were there. Yeah,
I
you
was
were there.
I was there.
That was someone brought a picture of the damn stuff.
Yeah.
It was Schlafly's.
Yeah.
And Schlafly's ESB, and I'm like, okay. And I whoa,
Has stagger in.
yeah, it was terrible.
Oh,
I didn't like that at all. And Hogarden, not Hogarden.
Pilsner or Kel.
No, Hogarden I didn't like either.
Yeah.
But we were at ITAP.
Yeah.
Central West End, I think it was. No.
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 I tap Soulard.
Yeah, Soulard.
Yeah.
And it was the waitress brought us a wheat beer. What was it called? And it was terrible. Tucher. It's Tucher.
Oh yeah.
Tucher. Tucher. And Chris and I had that.
Yeah, Ben's
And
bachelor party wasn't
neither
it?
one of us liked it.
Yeah.
It was Ben's bachelor party. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not all winners.
Yeah. So we're setting the stage pretty well here for tonight.
Really?
All winners. What do you got, Jeff?
What do you got?
Well, really, it's funny that you say that because I feel like we're kind of just delaying the inevitable. Like we don't want to talk about it, so we're going to sit here and talk about beer for 2 hours.
That's more interesting.
It is. So my beer is the New Belgium Fat Tire, which most people have had before. Just a good Belgian style ale for anyone who likes it. It's about 5.2%, I believe. Just needed something to drink away my sorrows and my anger.
I went with the old Bud Light Orange because it's fall and I need to get rid of this beer. So I got a few more in the fridge, so I'm gonna get rid of this, and I gotta make way for the pumpkins and the stouts and the
So, Mr. Blues Head, if you want to come over and help Curt drink
Right.
this beer.
Yes, I have like 3 or 4 more, and so you can come on over and enjoy it. Anyhow,
I guess we have to talk hockey now.
well, today in Blues History, courtesy of the @STL Blues History Twitter account. Today's date, October 17th, 1985. St. Louis City threatened to shut down the arena due to back taxes owed by Harry Ernest and the St. Louis Blues on Today in Blues History. So that whole era was just a mess.
I remember that. I was about 4 months old, 6 months old, and I remember that. That was awful.
Yeah, I was young enough. I remember it, but I was young enough that my parents talking about it scared me. I mean, I was definitely scared when they talked about, the Blues are moving to Saskatoon 2 years prior to that. But
Yeah, that was
I think
carpetbagger Harry Ernest came in and saved the day.
Yes. And he was apparently a pretty cheap bad, not paying his taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
And today's date, October 17th, 2008, Al MacInnis was inducted into the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame.
When I first saw this, I got excited because I'm like, oh, I can talk about my experience going to see him get inducted. But I'm like, oh, no, wait a minute. That was the Hockey Hall of Fame, not Nova Scotia.
All right. Let's jump right into it. I'm going to... So leading up to this game, a lot of talk about this week about well, first off, we got here's the topics. We got the Bowmeister, we've got our power play, we've got Dunn being a healthy scratch, the whole 11 forwards and 7 defensemen thing they went with, and then today's game we'll talk about. So if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves about Bowmeister and how he's played recently, because it was a topic of discussion on the Blues NHL podcast today, and they were that I listened to today, and so I actually agree with them on quite a number of things that they said about Bowmeister, where which we've discussed many times about how he is not a top pairing guy. He needs to be on the third pairing with Schmaltz or Bortuzzo. And but he's not. He's on the top pairing with Pietrangelo, and it's a problem. So if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, I'll be right back.
All right. So Jeff, how much do you like Jay Bowmeister?
Well, let me just crack open another beer because this is going to take a while. Jay Bouwmeester, where do you even start? Listen, let's put it like this. Friend of the show, Chris Frank from the Blues Hockey Podcast. He has long been a defender of Jay Bouwmeester, and we've had many a discussion about how I'm kind of too harsh on Bouwmeester. He tweeted tonight that it's getting really hard to defend him because he has looked awful this season. And while I think he has looked awful really since that Iron Man streak ended, to the past couple games, let's put it like this. If you're going to scratch Vince Dunn, you need to be scratching Jay Bouwmeester. I don't care that he's got the longevity. I don't care that he's been in the league for 400 years. I don't care. The guy he's been awful. And I will say, I think normally he's a third pairing defenseman, and that's fine. Hey, and at this point in his career, many defensemen could say that. Daryl Sador. I mean, you look at great defensemen who later in their career became third pairing defensemen when they used to be first or second pairing. But he hasn't even been good enough to be a third pairing defenseman. And when you see players like Schmaltz and Dunn, guys who are hustling and working their ass off, not that Bouwmeester isn't, it's just the talent and the game has passed him so hard. And maybe you sit him a couple games and hope that he figures it out, but his foot speed is gone 100%. I mean, he has no foot speed left at all. And it's just his play with the puck is just questionable at best.
Yeah. To me, it's felt like for the last 2 years that they are playing him consummate to his pay, not his ability.
Yes.
They're trying to force value out of him, and there's no value left. Put him in the press box. And you brought up the point about if you're gonna bench Vince Dunn, you're gonna bench Bouwmeester. We'll revisit that line of thinking later in the game.
You know, and this is not exclusive to Yo. I mean, there are tons of coaches, probably almost everyone is not gonna bench the veteran of Bouwmeester's stature. They're not gonna do it. Doesn't make it right. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's for whatever reason, the players of his ilk, the seniority that they have, are given. You know, they're considered. Oh well, if he makes a mistake, you know, that's part of the deal. Oh, but if a guy like Dunn makes a mistake, well, you got to let him know that that's not acceptable, and you can't get complacent with those kinds of mistakes. Even though Bouwmeester, and you know Dunn's ceiling is higher than his mistakes. Okay, I would say Bouwmeester's ceiling is not higher than his mistakes. I think the guy we're seeing as Bouwmeester right now is as good as he can be. Right now, he's not going to be any better. He's not going to all of a sudden just play like he did 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
Dunn he's been fine for the most part. He's been fine. He's had some hiccups. He had that play in overtime against Chicago. But I mean, so what?
It's 3-on-3 hockey.
It is. It's 3-on-3 hockey.
Mistakes are going to happen.
You shot in the shin guards. Yeah, it's the cardinal rule. A defenseman, last guy back, don't shoot in the shin guards. I get it, but it's 3-on-3, and still, it's
you at least got a point out of that game.
Yeah, right. I know, right? But it wasn't Bouwmeester tonight. I kind of wish it was. I wish it had been Bouwmeester.
Yeah. That's a much better, much more palatable narrative.
Well, at least it would have been like, see, told you.
Yeah. So no, the Bouwmeester is in terms of 5-on-5 play, he's a third pairing defenseman. Penalty kill, he's your second pairing at best.
Yeah, I would think so.
And it feels like they've been rolling him out as first pairing penalty killer.
Yeah, he was a second pairing. Was it against the Ducks?
Yeah,
I believe. And he was back on the top pair again tonight. I'm like, what is going on? So he
saw some time with Pietrangelo and he saw some time with Parayko. But But I think those are two guys that he doesn't need to be playing with, like you said. And listen, we'll get into this, I'm sure, later, but I personally loved the Dunn and Schmaltz pairing. I thought that was the best looking pairing for the Blues tonight. But Bouwmeester needs to be on your third pairing. I mean, he needs to be playing 12, 13 minutes a night, tops.
Well, in my opinion, Schmaltz Dunn should be the second pairing in the next game. because
But it was suggested that Dunn be paired with Pietrangelo on the Blues NHL podcast, which I said was I heard that. I'm like, I like that. I'd like to see that too. And Edmondson and Parayko on the number 2, because I when they have been paired together in the past, I've loved it. Twin Towers, 2 guys, I like it. And then you'd have the Schmaltz, Bortuzzo, and Bouwmeester, 3-headed monster on the third pairing. So I think that would be interesting to see how that worked out too.
Unless somebody Nancy Kerrigan's Jay Bouwmeester, he's going to play 82 games this year. We just have to accept it.
No,
it sucks.
Well, actually, one of the hot takes that was that we suggested people send us earlier today was, and I didn't have it ready to go since you just came out of the blue here, but something about Bouwmeester will be on the LTIR before too long if he keeps playing top line minutes, and that's probably true. He's not going to last playing those minutes.
So one of the tweets we got earlier from Dustin Paul, friend of the show, your former captain in the Stanley Cup tournament. Yeah, great captain.
Great captain.
Much better than your last captain.
Yeah, well, it's the proof is in the pudding.
So Dustin says, fire Yo tonight. Trade Parayko for Nylander. Get Bouwmeester off this team by any means necessary. Dump the donuts and bring back tacos. Hashtag we want tacos.
I'm not on the bandwagon to move Parayko, but the other two.
I like his sentiment though.
I know.
In the heat of the moment after this game, that is a perfect hot take.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. But I've been cold on Yo for a long time. Mm-hmm. I've never been warm on Yo ever. No. Since he was hired.
He was slotted to replace Hitchcock.
Yeah, I know.
Wait to get rid of Hitchcock only to get Yo.
So stupid.
Oh.
But yeah, so Dunn was a healthy scratch for the game against Calgary, which we won 5-2, which meant no lineup changes for. Well, he still scratched again for Chicago, and that was the overtime loss 5-4. So, but speaking of, there's a lot of negative things that we're talking about, but a positive has been the power play.
Yeah,
the power play has been productive. There were a few issues last season: power play, offense, goaltending from Allen. So the power play, light years better so far.
Yeah.
Offense, better. Goaltending from Allen, better this season. But the problem, he has not been perfect, but he's been better than last season. Well, his numbers aren't, right, but I think he's played better.
He's had some strong games.
He has.
He's had the
not,
Chicago game. The second Chicago game.
Right. I'm not saying he's been the goalie we need.
The goalie we deserve.
He's been better than last season, which I said before. I said the season in our season preview show, he's got to be better than last year. He has to be, right? And he has been. Still not what we need him to be, but I think he was fine tonight.
This tonight was
fine.
He was good. Totally not on him.
No, he's fine. And at the game against Chicago, he was he was great. But he's had some other games where it's like,
But still, every game this year, the Blues have given up 3 goals.
I know, and it's a thing where
it's a team thing.
It's a team thing. It's a poor defensive zone coverage in front of your own net. My God. And transition out of your own zone has been bad. So, and then, they get great scoring chances because of it. And then Allen has not come up huge enough for my liking. So it's a whole perfect storm of crap in our own end for me. So it's a lot of those goals you can't I'm not going to rag on Allen for a lot of them, but like Luke Warwick said, it'd be nice if he came up with bigger saves a little more often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want your goalie to feel comfortable with the team in front of him, which I don't think he has all season, probably even last season, to where he doesn't think they're going to hang him out to dry. So yeah, you can sit there and blame the Blues, but it's a two-way street. You can blame the forwards, you can blame the defensemen for that, and we do 100%. But it's also that, yeah, you expect your team to be bailing you out, only having you face 20, 21 shots a night, but you need to be reciprocating that. The off nights, which has been a lot, granted, to start the season for the forwards and the defense, you need to be bailed out by your goaltender. I mean, this is going to be a hilarious person to reference here, but I'm being sincere. There was one goalie in the Blues past who was fantastic at taking a game. I mean, granted, he was inconsistent as hell, but he took the game when he needed to and stood on his head. That was Curtis Sanford.
I thought you said Lalim.
Well, not Lalim. No, the Sandman. I mean, listen, I'm not saying because Jake Allen's a better goalie than the Sandman, but there were nights where you could point to Curtis Sanford and say, the only reason the Blues won, the only reason the Blues lost by a goal was because Curtis Sanford made 42 saves. And listen, Jake Allen did that against Chicago. But what the Blues are paying him and what you expect from him, that needs to be happening a little more often. And I don't put tonight on him at all. Well, the first goal was weak. We'll get to that. I
was just going to say the light, sound, geometry, analog electronics. I'm not going to say it every time. He makes a comment in the YouTube chat. But he did say 30 seconds in game 5, 30 seconds in the game, 5-hole, WTF you smoking. You're right. That was a soft goal, I thought, on Allen. So it was not a good goal.
I mean, that gets back to Bouwmeester too.
It
does. Yeah, it was a bad pinch.
It does, but wasn't it a breakaway?
It was there was a defender there.
It was semi.
He had a lane to the he had a slot to the lane. He had a lane backhand. There was a defender in the slot, like skating back. Right. He didn't have it. He wasn't a clear cut breakaway.
Yeah.
But
still,
and it was a bad pinch by Bouwmeester. So that goal, that was a soft goal to give up, and a bad play by Bouwmeester to pinch. It was 2-on-1, more or less. So the 11 forwards and 7 defensemen thing that happened that was against Anaheim, wasn't it? Yeah.
So did anybody tell Mike Yo that you have to have 3 forwards at all times? I mean, or are we seeing a new era of hockey? They're playing a different form, like in soccer. They're playing a 3-2 instead of a 2-3. Stupid.
You know what? What I thought was puzzling about this was that the Blues have looked out of sync all season. They're inconsistent. They're scoring some goals, but they all over the ice, they look inconsistent. And I compare this team to kind of like the Mike Kitchen Blues a little bit. They just don't seem to know what they're doing sometimes, and they seem out of sync and no chemistry. And what better way to build up chemistry than to just have uneven forwards and uneven defensemen, and every time you're out there, you're with someone different.
You know what I feel like this was an answer to? I feel like this was because it was a back-to-back. It was the second game of back-to-back. And I feel like this was Mike Yo saying, well, let's our veteran defenseman, aka Jay Bouwmeester, let's not play him as much. So, we'll have 7 defensemen out there. That's how I read that. Because, it's understandable if, guys getting 30, 35 minutes and it's a back-to-back, it's a big game. I could see it, but really the answer to that is sit your tired defenseman. Instead of playing 7 defensemen in a back-to-back and saying, well, this way we're giving everybody rest. Whoever's the most tired, whoever didn't look good the night before, give him the night off.
Will Bouwmeester be a healthy scratch at all?
No.
Not in the entire season.
As long as Mike Yo is coach, no.
As long as anyone's, I don't who. So if a new young hip coach comes in and he's going to sit the veteran Bouwmeester, no, I don't think he's going to set just because of the way the NHL is. I don't think he gets that at all.
Davis Payne did that to Eric Brewer.
Well, yeah, and Eric Brewer was, okay,
but he was the captain.
Yeah, but he was okay.
No, and
all right,
that gave me some hope about Davis Payne.
I like, and
then all
Payne.
Of a sudden, here we are straddled with Ken Hitchcock for 5 years.
I liked Davis Payne, and I liked Hitchcock for a while.
No,
I did.
No.
He had good results, just not playoffs.
You liked him. I didn't.
Yeah. I know. I didn't like him the last year and a half. Before that,
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with Curt.
I was done with him, and I made no bones about this. I was done with him after the first LA playoff series where we lost. I thought he had no fucking clue what he was doing coaching against Daryl Sutter, of all people.
Yeah, that was sad.
But we digress.
Right.
Let's get back to the present. The present is so much.
Yeah, I did mention the power play. It's before tonight's game, it was at 30.4%. We had 7 power play goals before tonight. We have 8 now, which I don't know if things changed league wide, but we have the second most in the league, power play goals in the league, to Toronto, who had 9 coming in. So and that coming into tonight's game, 15 goals total in 5 games. So we had 2 power play goals tonight. So that's we have 9 now, right? So we unless Toronto got one, we're tied for the NHL lead in power play goals.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, they fixed the power play. It's just everything else broke in order for them to fix it.
But the thing is that we got 17 goals for in 6 games, something like that. So we're not scoring. I mean, that's over half of our goals are on the power play, which sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
But when your 5-on-5 scoring is like really low, aside from that, it's just that sucks.
Right.
So it's like the exact opposite of the start of last year. Last year, our 5-on-5 scoring was fantastic. Our power play wasn't very good.
The key to our October and November swoon last year was 5-on-5 goals from defensemen.
Right. Well, we have 4 or 5 goals from defensemen this season. 4, I think. So it's not terrible.
Yeah.
We've got decent goal production from our defensemen, but last year was fantastic.
Yeah.
Last year was really good.
Montreal, on the other hand, tonight they're what 5-2 and something. Tonight they got that Mike Riley goal, the first goal from a defenseman all season for Montreal.
Yep, I heard that.
Yeah, crazy.
Hey, it's got to come sometime. Might as well be against us, right?
Yeah.
So tonight's game, we came into the game tonight after losing to the Blackhawks and the Ducks. Allen stopped 46 out of 50 in Chicago versus Chicago. Petrangelo's play versus Chicago.
Which real quick, I just want to touch on Allen before we move on. We went into that the last show. If you listen to it, that was before the Calgary game. We said we just need to see something out of Jake Allen. We need something. And he played well. I mean, I thought I'm drawing a blank on which goal it was, but there was one weak goal I thought pretty early against the Blackhawks, and that was like, oh boy, here we go again. But he really stepped his game up.
It was the Taves goal, wasn't it? The off the boards.
Yes, yeah, the Taves goal. Is that the first goal?
Yep, that was the first goal of the game.
Bad goal. But you know. I mean, even Patrick Waugh had bad goals against him, so it's going to happen. But it was just one of those with Jake Allen's history. Oh boy, here we go. But he picked his game up. I mean, give him credit in the fact that that's usually a spot where that happens and Jake Allen crumbles the rest of the game. And you're just, okay, when you going to pull him, when you going to pull him? But he answered brilliantly. And really, his defense and the penalties, that's what kind of cursed him in that game. But overall, I thought very solid game for Jake Allen. One of the best games I've seen him play in 2 or 3 years.
How often do you hear the criticism that your best players aren't being your best players? And Pietrangelo in particular has not been very good this season. So he's coming in this game, he was -5 -5 in the season, and has not played well. Not defending well in front of the goal, losing track of his man. Both Tays goals against Chicago were on Pietrangelo mostly. He lost track of him both times. So and that's kind of been, he was out-muscled, lost track and out-muscled on the first one, and then lost track on the second one. So he's a better defenseman than that. So I would hope that improves. But right now, that's just one of the handful of reasons why the team is struggling.
Right.
I think.
I think when it comes to Pietrangelo, that he's been focused too much on pushing the offense. At this point, with how poorly he has played, he needs to focus defense first. Take a couple of games and just focus on the defensive end of your game. Yeah,
well, that would involve taking him off the power play, which I've kind of been in favor of anyway.
Yeah, no,
I don't like him on the power play.
I've come around on that, Curt. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
He has not looked good this year on the power play at all.
So tonight, the power play again. Power play is great. 2 power play goals. However, the problem that I've continued to have with the power play over the last couple of seasons is the lack of shooting. I'm not the shoot fan, but the lack of people shooting one-timers. Every player gets the puck and overhandles it.
Yes.
Jen's goal in the third period was a one-timer.
Yeah.
Carey Price had no chance.
And if he corrals it and shoots, Price gets it because I thought when that goal went in, I thought, you know what? Price just showed the level of goaltender that he is on that play because he got over in a hell of a hurry. And on the replay, he didn't miss by much.
Right.
And the Shen, I mean, it was a great play, great setup, one-timer. And you would have thought that Shen would have had a whole lot more net to shoot at, but he didn't. Right. And he put it where he was, where Price wasn't, and it worked out for us. But Price did a hell of a job getting over, and that's just the kind of goalie he is. So that's I noticed that when
I was just going to say that a lot of people give Tarasenko trouble for that, which they should.
I have before.
Yeah. It's ridiculous that a man of his talent caliber can't one-time the damn puck. But I will say that's the whole Blues mantra. Nobody on this team can one-time the puck except what we saw tonight. Shen did that a lot last year too. The defenseman can. And it's frustrating because, I've seen people say, well, they just need to go to practice and work on one-timers. The saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm not saying they couldn't work on it and figure it out a little bit, but in the heat of the moment, when these guys get the puck on their stick and they have seconds, not even seconds, a split second to react, they're going to do what they always do. It's going to be cradle the puck and shoot. That's just how this roster is. And it's a shame, but you need to find new ways of creating offense if that's the way it's going to be. But this team doesn't seem like they can figure that out.
LSG in the YouTube chat says, playing well and giving up timely momentum, changing goals is 2 things. Anyone who plays knows this. So I guess referring to Allen's play, and that playing well is one thing, but then giving up a backbreaking goal is another, which we've talked about before. That can let a team down if you let up a soft goal, even though you play well, stop 30 out of 31, and the next goal you allow is a softie, and you all of a sudden it's tied 2-2, and you're like, ugh, and it lets your team down. Yeah, I get it.
Go back to that Winnipeg, the opening night game against Winnipeg, and that's that. Well, not that we ever had a lead in that game.
No.
Yeah,
no,
but. Yeah, the jeers came because he couldn't make a save.
He also said Schwartz invisible again, oft injured. The JG Drew of STL hockey. He has hurt a lot. I'll give him that. That's a good comparison with JD Drew. Drew was hurt a lot.
Hopefully, no Flyers fans listening to this are going to throw batteries at him.
But yeah, no, I agree with the Tarasenko and the quick release. He's got, once the puck is on his stick, he's a fantastic release. But
He overhandles it.
yeah, it's like, you know what? Let that snapshot go. Let the slap shot go. The whole corral back and forehand shoot is his thing, and that allows. I mean, it's a fantastic shot when it lets it go, and if he hits his spot, it's great. But by that time, the goalie's moved over and the defenseman's in the shooting lane, and it cuts down on the scoring chances. I've been saying that for a while. That's something I've noticed him for a couple of years ago, and it's just the way he does it. That's his style. It's what he does.
Right. And, Jeff, you made the point just a few minutes ago about fans saying, practice one-timers. I don't think it's just practicing one-timers, and that's not what's going to cure the team. But does this team have the kind of coaching staff that can teach in specialist situations? Like, do they have a skills coach that can teach high-pressure scoring situations? I just feel like, that's probably not something this team's invested in.
No, because they're too busy paying the Brett Hulls and Al McInnes's of the team to afford that.
Yeah.
Did I go there? I'm sorry. That was uncalled for.
Do you think anybody's telling Jay Bouwmeester how to play defense?
No.
I mean, anybody? Is anybody suggesting to him?
Hey,
you might not want to do this next time, or
right?
Do
you think Mike Van Ryan is telling Jay Bouwmeester how to play defense?
Right? That's my point. It's like, right. You know what? It's almost like, just. I mean, I don't know. You can't do it that way. I mean, playing him out of his element on the top line, and just not to harp on it too much, which we've done a lot this show already, but and that's why we go along. But but I just don't understand it. I don't give a shit if he's making $6, $7, $8 million a year. If he's not worthy of top line minutes, don't fucking play him top line minutes. I don't care how much he makes. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how much of a veteran he is. Who gives your team the best chance to win on the ice? And like, did not put your best lineup on the ice, would piss me off. But whatever, set him a game, 2 games, whatever. Sitting Thomas tonight. All right, fine. I mean, fine. I get it. Whatever. Play Sanford, see what he's got. Fine. But yeah, I don't know.
I was ready to have to battle you guys on that. I thought you guys were gonna, Bill. Maybe you are, but I thought you guys were gonna be pretty pissed about that.
You know what? When my first reaction when I heard Thomas was probably going to sit, I was like, that was the opposite direction I wanted him to go. I thought, him getting 6 to 8 minutes in a game, I thought was, maybe hurting him because he's used to playing a lot more. I would rather them have put him up, second, third line, and give him more minutes to see how he plays before you scratch him. But I'm fine with seeing how Sanford. I think Sanford played okay tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing is that I think that if you sit him for Chris Thorburn, if Scotty Upshaw were still with the team or something like that, then I would say, what the hell are you doing? But the fact that it was Zach Sanford, they wanted to see what they could get out of him. Yeah. And personally, I thought he played awesome for the Blues. I thought he looked good.
Yeah, I thought the fourth line, when they got out there, they primarily played in the Montreal zone, and I thought they were effective.
And I've liked Sanford ever since we acquired him. So you can see that he has some talent, and he belongs in the NHL. So I like to see him play.
More so today. I think when he first got here, he weighed $120. He did, got pushed around quite a bit.
He did, but I could tell that he belonged. I could tell he had skill. I could tell that, okay, this guy can play. So, but no,
I was fine with them sitting Thomas for him. Unfortunately, the reality is this is how the Blues organization is. They're never going to let a rookie continue to play every game. They're not going to give him 15, 20 minutes a night ever, like the other 30 teams are with their rookies. So I understood it. It's just if they decide to send him to juniors, I hope they give him at least 2 or 3 games before, which they're coming up on.
He's
Yeah, he's getting to the point where you got to do that now.
He's
So
got
give him 2 or 3 games of him playing top line minutes. Maybe not top line, but top 6. And if you don't do that, then you're not testing to see how good this kid can be.
I would like to see that. I would like to see at least a couple games of him playing on a second or third line. I'd like to see him move up a little bit just to get some more minutes, just see how he does. Because they talk about he played 25 to 30 minutes before he came up here. So he's getting his time cut by a third.
Right. I think
by 2/3
after tonight's game with Kyrou, I thought he's looked very not out of place on the first line, but the fact that he
could have had 2 goals
of wide open nets.
He missed the wide open net, which he did. I can tell he didn't see that puck come out of traffic.
Right.
He was late on it, and the post he hit.
I think that if anything, you sub Thomas for Kyrou in the next game. Not in general, but I think Mike Yeo will sub Thomas for Kyrou in the next game. It's
you
whether
play
or not,
Thomas on a wing, or you
play Thomas on, swap them.
Okay.
Put Thomas in Kyrou's spot. That's what
would
that's
you
what,
sit?
That's
Would you scratch Kyrou?
Possibly.
After I don't know.
I wouldn't. Mike Yeo would.
Okay, good point.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. No way. I mean,
he's been all around the net. It's just it's a matter of time before he gets a goal.
Yeah, I mean, out of the forward crew in tonight's game, Schwartz I thought had a pretty bad game.
I did too.
Yeah, he did.
You're not. He's an assistant captain. You're not going to sit him.
You know what you
Mike Yeo's not going to sit him. Mike Yeo's going to sit a rookie because that's what Mike Yeo does.
So most coaches do, but I'm not defending Yeo, but a lot of coaches do that.
Well, to be honest, I don't think I would sit.
It's easy. Yeah, it sucks.
I don't think I would sit Schwartz either after this game.
No, I wouldn't. I would never sit Schwartz.
Yeah, you don't do that. But I mean, I do think
like a reset or something. I would never sit Schwartz.
If you want to sit a Maroon or I'm trying to think of another example, but someone like that, I'd be fine. That's fine.
Maroon has been disappointing. I was not expecting great things from Maroon. I was expecting more than he's given us so far, though.
Right, and the pregame show on KMLX, I heard about 5 minutes of it, and they were talking about how the line the putting Kyrou up on the top line in place of Maroon. They felt like they needed more speed in that spot. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Tarasenko is not the greatest skater in the world. Patrick Maroon is probably besides Chris Thorburn, the worst. Yeah, worst slowest skater on the team.
I wouldn't say he's a worst. He's slow. I wouldn't say he's a bad. He's just not fast.
Yeah. So I get putting.
They grew up in St. Louis,
right?
Your ice time is not as prevalent as other northern cities.
Well, and your ice conditions are not as good as up north. So something I wanted to bring up, what Bill you just mentioned. So the Chicago game, the last Chicago game, and then tonight's game against Montreal. I actually watched the other broadcast. I watched the Blackhawks broadcast and the Canadiens broadcast, and both broadcasts. Eddie Olczyk for the Chicago broadcast, and I want to say it was not Sean Burke, Brian Burke maybe was on the Canadiens intermission show. They both almost verbatim said the exact same thing. The Blues' team speed is disappointing. They said that they thought going into the year this was going to be a better team, but then they see them on the ice and they just do not look like a fast team. And that's what you have to have in the NHL nowadays.
Their transition game kind of sucks right now. And I think your transition game, if you have a good transition game, you're fast. If you don't, you're slow. That's a huge part of it.
Right. And in the transition game, the two guys that have probably over focused on this and given up the most come back the other way chances are Petrangelo and Parayko. Is it are they slow? I don't think they're slow. I think it's
fast.
They're defensive partners that not having the right pairings. I don't know.
See, I think Edmondson isn't the fastest skater either, but he doesn't let himself get caught out of position. He knows, okay, I'm not the fleetest of foot, so I need to stay right here so I don't get beat, or I can't pass this point so I don't get beat.
You don't have
a guy like Jay Bouwmeester still thinks that he's that elite skater when he's not anymore.
You don't have to be if you're a smart skater, you don't have to be a fast skater. If you're, like you said, if your anticipation is good and you are well positioned, for example, you don't have to be lightning fast. LSG in the YouTube chat says Maroon belongs on the fourth line. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I'm not against putting people on the fourth line for whatever reason, but I'm not saying I don't think Maroon's a fourth line guy.
You know, you're talking about a fourth line though that has Robert Thomas and Ivan Barbashev.
Right? No,
that's true.
Right.
That might not be a bad spot for him.
Well, I think my point was that I guess I was thinking that when you say fourth line player, we're thinking fourth line from years past the Blues have had, where they're, it's
the mucker
grinder, typically unskilled forwards kind of thing, and that's not really Maroon. I mean, that's not fair. He's better than that. But on this Blues team, on the way the forwards, how skilled they should be, they're supposed to be on paper, then yeah, I would. That's a fourth line from Maroon is not out of the question.
So the composition of the fourth line this year, I like it. I'd rather have three younger, faster guys, and then that on paper it feels right to have Maroon on the third line, but man, that's a slow third line.
Yeah.
I just Steen is not a fast player at this point in his career.
Well,
Bozak, I
again
love what he's brought to this team in terms of the faceoffs and the leadership, but he's also not a fast player.
As long as you don't get beat on the matchups, if you're coaching,
right. Bozak's faceoff skills probably make up for a lot of that,
right? And to be honest, I mean, you should be playing. You're not playing against the top line of your opponents necessarily. So, hopefully the speed on the other team that they have on the top line is not going to burn you. When your forwards are back checking or whatever. So I think that comes down to coaching too, where if you have a fourth line that's not the fastest fourth line, and your coach has you out there against bad matchups, then that's not really fair to the fourth line necessarily. That's more on the coach, I think. If you're caught out there against the line you're not supposed to be out there against. LSG says hitters hit and scorers score. Put a skilled player up front and let Maroon bang on the fourth line.
Have we had any comments out there yet about fucking get to this game already?
We started to.
I mean, we're talking about the Blues as a whole, though. You know, I mean, I don't.
We've touched on the starting lines. The starting lines for tonight. Top line we talked about Kyrou, O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Schwartz, Shen, Perron, Maroon, Bozak, Steen, Barbashev, Sanford, and Blais. And then defense, Bouwmeester, Pietrangelo, talked about, not happy about, Edmondson, Parayko, and then Dunn, Schmaltz. So
real quick,
we'll have to see Dunn and Bouwmeester flip-flop to start the game for those lines.
Yeah, a lot of people I saw were I mean, you mentioned the STL or what the hell are they called? The Blues NHL podcast. Well, their Twitter name I think is at STL Blues Podcast. That's what I was confusing. Anyway,
Blues Hockey NHL.
Isn't that that's Blues Hockey Podcast?
But the Blues Hockey Podcast was Blues Hockey Podcast.
Oh my God, it is so confusing.
Simple. I don't know. They get confused.
It is so confusing. Anyway, there was some talk about what they talked. There was some talk about what they talked about with the Dunn, putting Dunn on the top line. A lot of people in a couple of message boards really disagreed with that. I do think it's a lot of responsibility for Dunn But then you think about it, and, you know, how many people were saying back in the day, Kevin Shattenkirk needs to be on that top pairing. Who cares if he's a right-handed defenseman? Put him out there with Pietrangelo. And, you know, I was one of those people. So I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, I think you put Pietrangelo out there with anyone who's capable of getting back quickly or staying back if he moves up, or like most times, 9 times out of 10, Pietrangelo can say, all right, I'll lay back, you go play offense. Dunn's that guy. That's looking at the lineup and the people you could put out there. Yeah, you could have Bouwmeester out there 3-4 years ago because they played a similar game, and Bouwmeester was a very reliable defenseman to either get back or stay back. But like we've said 1,000 times on this show, that's just not who he is anymore. So if you can put Dunn out there with Pietrangelo, I think that they balance each other well. They're both reliable in the sense of if one of them gets back or gets caught, they're going to get back quickly. I mean, say all you want about Pietrangelo, he hustles his ass off if he gets caught up ice, and you can say the same thing about Dunn. So I'm all for that. And like you guys said, Edmondson Parayko, that creates that for your second pairing. That's one of the best second pairings in the NHL, if you ask me.
I love that pairing. Yeah, I mean, assuming the Parayko doesn't pull what he pulled tonight.
Ugh.
So in the first period of tonight's game, I thought tonight's first period was extremely uninteresting as far as the Blues are concerned. Lackluster, inefficient, no transition game. Montreal scores 39 seconds into the game on, you know, what I thought was a bad pinch by Bouwmeester on the boards. Came down 2-on-1. Don't make cuts to the net on his backhand, and it was 5-hole. So
whoa, sorry.
Wait,
real
Where
quick.
did he go?
5-hole.
No, Jake Allen, partial breakaway,
Partial break. He
5-hole.
Yeah, and it was not a good goal. I mean, Allen's got the shooter, coming down on an angle, not down the slot. It's on the from the circle dot in, and it's it's a hole that shouldn't be there.
Real quick, I'm gonna totally change course here because in the Islanders-Ducks game going on right now, something just happened that I've never seen before. Johnny Boychuk just blocked a shot, and it shattered the blade on his skate.
I've seen blades break before, but not.
Yeah, I mean, it was from a shot. It was crazy. It looked the instant replay made it look like the puck shattered, but it was his blade. It was so weird.
Multiple pieces.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 pieces.
I've seen blades come off before.
Yeah, I've seen
that. Was crazy. I've never seen that.
Anyway,
sorry.
Blades that are you can just clip and take off.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a bad goal all the way around. The first goal, 39 seconds in. First of all, first minute of the game, awful. Bouwmeester pinch, awful. 2-on-1 right off the bat. Allen 5-hole goal. It was a bad goal to give up.
Pretty much everything. If you want to find out, hey, you know what? I haven't seen any Blues games. I've been living under a rock for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. How's the Blues season gone? I feel like you could just show that clip of the opening leading to that goal because it was a poor defensive decision. It was a poor attempt by Allen to make the save. And just all around, it looked like the Blues were just not ready to start that game.
Well, the first 30 seconds of the game, we had possession in their zone. Didn't get any great scoring chances, but we had possession, kind of cycled it down, and for 30 seconds, okay, we're off to a decent start in this game again. And then Montreal comes back the other way and scores. So that was just like, you know what? That's because a number of times this season we've had good starts the first 3, 4, 5 minutes of the game, and then we give up the first goal in the first period. We've given up a goal in the first period in every game this season so far, and sometimes more than one. So that's not good.
Dustin Paul.
Tonight.
Dustin Paul has joined the YouTube chat, and he just says Bouwmeester is awful.
What do I have on the show notes here? for the first topic. What is written?
Bouwmeester is awful.
That is exactly what I have for the first topic of the show. Bouwmeester is awful.
Jeff must have shared because nobody else could possibly come to that realization.
Yeah, right.
Word for word.
No, and so getting into the whole first period as we were discussing, just a bad period. I mean, so Maroon gets in that fight with Jordy Ben, and it was a pretty good scrap, not a bad scrap by today's standards.
That's fine.
And I thought, okay, you think back to the Shen.
Didn't blow my skirt up any, but it was fine.
No, you think back to like the Shen fight with was that Landeskog last year against the Avalanche, trying to rejuvenate his team, and that it worked. And so you think, okay, well, maybe Maroon, this is what he's good at. This is the kind of stuff he's an energy guy. This is what he's going to do. Didn't change a damn thing. Blues still looked awful the rest of that first period.
3 shots. That was the last time we allowed 3 shots in a period was in Yo's first season as a coach. Yeah, I mean, we won that game 2-0, actually. But I thought, okay, we're gonna come back and win this game. Third period, but whatever.
At least they didn't. So my thought was, when I saw how poorly they were executing in the offensive zone, I thought, great, this is gonna be another 20-shot period for Jake Allen. At least they kind of held Montreal to the perimeter and they didn't allow a ton of shots.
No, 10's fine. I mean, it's that wasn't too bad.
I even said that. I think about the 5-minute mark, the 15-minute mark. I said, if they can get out of this period 0-0, that's a win. And they did. Oh, well, not 0-0, 1-0. That's a win because the way they played that period.
Face-off percentage was at 65%. So one of the things last season, face-offs were not very good. And we talked about the power play being fixed so far this year. Face-offs, fantastic. This season, overall, very, very good.
It's the defense.
Yeah, but it's funny because the stuff gets fixed, and it's like, yeah, but we're kind of not playing very good. So you would think scoring some more goals. Well, not scoring more goals last season, but power play being much better, and face-offs being much better. Which those are probably hand in hand too. You think we have a little better record, but we do not. So 4 block shots each in the period for the Blues and Habs, and 4 giveaways for the Blues. 0 giveaways for Montreal. 0 giveaways, which I hate that stat. I hate that stat so much. 4 giveaways.
Yeah, and
hits too. I hate hits.
And stats are still done by the hometown guy, right?
Yeah, 0.
Yes.
None. So Montreal didn't turn the puck over 1 time in that entire period. I'm betting that's not true.
You know what's funny is, and I know that I've showed my nerdiness before, but in the NHL video games too, I feel like that is so arbitrarily done that it's just like at the end of each season, every single Blue, like literally 18, 19, 20 Blues will lead the league in giveaways. And then in takeaways, there won't be like any for the Blues. And I feel like that's actually well done by EA because that's how the NHL is too. It's like Bill said, it's the hometown guy. That stat is never calculated correctly. And we'll say that about the Blues guys too. It's just it's never done properly, I feel.
The second period was the start of a bit of a turnaround for the Blues. I think they played much better. More offensive pressure in the second period. Dunn got a power play goal. His second from Tarasenko and O'Reilly. I thought the replay on this was fantastic. The O'Reilly's ballerina move to avoid the shot from through the screen. Holy hell. He jumped up, twisted, and turned in the air, and the puck went right through his legs. He had like the clearance of like 6 inches to shoot, and right through his legs. That was, and there's like no way in hell Price can see that puck.
Right.
There's not a chance.
Any other night it hits O'Reilly and goes away.
Sure, right. But that was great. And then of course Montreal gets their power play goal. Later in the second to go back up 2-1.
Yeah, I thought on that play, Braden Shen was just terrible all the way around. Had the chance to get the puck out of the zone.
Oh, yeah.
Get the puck out of the zone.
Yeah.
And then he tries to go for the home run poke check and lets O'Reilly walk right down the fucking middle of the zone. Jake Allen screamed, no chance.
Do you know what pissed me off about that? Okay, he goes for the poke check. At the same time, though, I forgot who it was from Montreal, was coming in. It was like almost like a half-assed pick attempt.
Right.
So he's going for the poke check while at the same time trying to not get hit by the Montreal forward. And I'm like,
get hit by the forward,
exactly,
draw the penalty.
Exactly. Yep. Run into the guy. They don't score, and we get a power play. It was, and you could tell that when the puck went in that he slumped. He knew what he did. He would go for the poke check. You want to go for the poke check, fine, but don't make that a home run play. Don't make that your only because
that's exactly what he did. It was the home run play.
Yeah,
he wanted the one-on-one against his friend Carey Price.
That's the thing, and you young hockey players, this is something to remember. Take away the ice. That's what you do on a play like that. When he only has two options, left or right, and you see his eyes and his body move to the left and say, okay, he's going that way. You got to do everything you can to take away that ice from him to where he either has to dump the puck off in the corner or move the puck to somebody else. You can't let him have that ice. And that was, like you said, pure laziness. I mean, you learn that type of play on Braden Shen's part in fucking midget hockey. I mean, that was just poor.
Yeah, it's terrible play. Gives him a 4-on-3 down the slot with Allen screen.
Yeah,
no chance.
It was off the post. It was off the post and in. Yeah,
it was a great shot.
That's tough.
And Mike Riley is a reclamation project for Canadians, and the Habs fans were not looking forward to him being a in the lineup every night kind of guy, but Carl Alsner doesn't crack this lineup because Mike Riley is playing so well. So, on the other, on the Canadians end, it's a good play by a guy that is beating expectations at this point in the season.
Bill, something I want to ask you, because I've actually always kind of wondered this too, because I God knows I've made my poor defensive plays in the past. When you see Braden Shen, one, not clear the puck, and then two, not take away the ice from Mike Riley, how pissed as a goalie are you at that player? Do you say anything? Do you let it go? Do you speak in general terms?
You're asking Bill?
Yeah. Well, I mean, seriously, as a goalie, what's going through your mind when that happens?
I can say what Bill's going to say.
Yeah.
He's going to light your ass up.
Right. It would have got picked up by the microphone.
There have been a number of F-bombs, and we may have called a timeout after that, and Bill comes to the bench and just starts bitching somebody out.
Yeah.
You can't fucking do that.
Yeah. No, it's and I wonder. We saw a couple of tweets about the Yo presser after the game, and apparently somebody lighting up the dressing room behind him. You wonder if that's not Jake Allen just going off.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah,
I will tell you. I mean, granted, press can say all they want. They've been in the locker room. They're not in there for the team meetings and for everything that happens behind closed doors, but I'll tell you from my experiences with Jake Allen, he really does come off as a passive guy. So I do hope that he said something. I mean, even if it's just Braden, come on, man, you're better than that. Even something like that, because that needs to be said to a player of Shen's abilities.
We never, you know what we did as teammates when we played? We never yelled at each other in the locker room. It was always bitching about the officials or the other team in the locker room. We bitched each other on the rink.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the bench, on the rink.
Yeah.
That's where we yelled at each other. But when we got back to the locker room, we were a team again, and it was always somebody else's fault.
Yep. Yes.
So Montreal outshot the Blues outshot Montreal 11-7 and traded goals in the second period. So Montreal was leading 2-1 going into the third. And I think the Blues had a good third period up until the last 10 seconds.
Yeah. Best of the season.
Yeah. It was good. We had a number of power plays, and we finally converted on one. Fantastic setup, fantastic shot from Shen.
A one-timer.
Great look from Steen. Yeah, a one-timer goes in. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
Get the puck up.
A one-timer by Braden Shen on the TV.
There it is on the replay.
How about that?
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, just Shen over this. Yeah, it's beautiful. It was a beautiful fucking goal. That's goals you see other teams score on the highlights.
Wait.
Yeah. And I'm watching it now. Yeah, it's for our convenience.
Why do we have to fucking watch this? This is
you know what? To be honest, it was a shitty play by Parayko, a flub pass, but it was a really nice little.
Tatar,
it was a nice conversion.
Tatar,
It was a nice conversion by Montreal because they kind of flubbed it too, and it went to Gallagher, who had a nice little chip backhand thing that went over.
Well, they flubbed it because they were thinking, "Whoa, here's a gift."
He just put it to us in the slot.
I can't believe it's happening. So yeah, and then so I think like we just talked about Gallagher, Parayko in our own end. One goes to pass across the slot to Edmondson when he should have, when there was a forward bearing down on him, should have wrapped it around behind the goal. I was telling Bill when this play happened, when Parayko got the puck, I could tell he was looking across the slot to go across the slot to pass Edmonton. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
10 seconds to go.
Yes.
All you have to do is chip it behind your own net and fight a battle.
At this point, you are killing time.
Right.
10 seconds to go in the game. You're killing time. Throw it behind your goal.
Worst thing you can do is put it in the slot. Yep. And that's what he did.
That was,
and that's why, that's why I'm hoping that was Jake Allen lighting up Colton Parayko. What the fuck are you thinking?
Can you imagine if Vince Dunn had done that? He would not see the ice for a week.
He would be in San Antonio.
Yeah, he'd be.
That's what I'm saying right there. That's something I wanted to bring up. Is that fucking Yo wants to hold these players accountable, right? Well, you're gonna bench Vince Dunn. You're gonna bench. Well, you look at Mike Yo's press conferences. It's always, it's them. It's never me. So you want to sit there and you want to bench Vince Dunn for one play in an overtime 3-on-3 game where one of the best players in the league beats your goalie 1-on-1. But you're not going to sit Colton Parayko for a bullshit play for a completely dumbass move that, you know what, 9 times out of 10, he probably completes that pass. 99 times out of 100, he completes that pass. But you know what? You don't make that fucking pass that late in the game. You do the safe play. You throw it behind the net. You lift it to center. You do something, anything other than what you did. And you know what? Colton Parayko is going to go back out next game and play, 20, 25 minutes, which is, I love Colton Parayko, probably my favorite player on the team. But you make a dumb shit play like that, and you have a coach that wants to hold people accountable, you need to be sitting next fucking game. At the very least, move down to the third pairing. We all know that's not going to happen.
Right. And that was my hot take coming out of that game is Colton Parayko better fucking sit the next game. I mean, that's at this point in his career, third season, he's supposed to be, the heir apparent to Pietrangelo, and Pietrangelo's had such a shitty year. We're all hoping he would take it over now. But you make that kind of play, you deserve to fucking sit. I'm sorry. This team needs all the help it can get defensively, and especially going into Toronto for the next game. But fuck, Colton should sit. He needs to show more.
Does any of Parayko's play fall on coaching? Because I know Parayko will tell you after the game. He will tell you, I can't make that. That's not a smart play at all. Is that something that you say the coach needs to drill into the players' brains to make sure they're making the right plays at the right time? Or is this something that's strictly on the players?
I think that's strictly on the players. I think at this level, these guys are grown men. They know the basics of the game. And I don't think you look at your NHL head coach to tell them, hey guys, make the safe play, they should fucking know it. Yeah, I don't put that on Mike Yo at all.
So the phrase that just keeps popping in my head about this is situational awareness. The best people at everything in the world, not just hockey, not just sports, business, whatever, the best people in the world at their jobs have situational awareness, and that play was completely fucking devoid of situational awareness.
It's not like there's 30 seconds to go in overtime or in the game.
Right.
There's 10 seconds to go,
Right.
Or ish, probably a couple seconds more. But when you make that pass, you're like we talked about, you're in your own zone, in your own end, deep. You're killing the clock.
Yeah.
You're not going to score in 10, 11 seconds.
Right.
Just kill the clock, get to overtime, get a point on the road against a team that's been playing well. It's a victory, even if you lose in overtime, kind of. So
that play happens in February, March, or April. You get it's a long season. He's fatigued. This is fucking third week of the season.
Right.
What the hell are you doing?
Yep.
Well, and Curt, you kind of alluded to this. You make that play in overtime, okay, because at least you say, well, they walked away with a point. He's trying to work the puck up one more time with 10 seconds left. 3-on-3, maybe you can make something happen. But when it's 10 seconds left on the damn clock, and listen, all you people who like to get mad at us because we bash Jake Allen, listen, every person on this podcast is a Colton Parayko fan. We're big supporters of the guy and don't believe the flack that he gets. But you know what? That was such a dumbass play that he needs to have his ass sit for a game. That is bullshit.
Here's the thing with our show, and we've said this a number of times. If somebody makes a stupid play or plays like ass, we say they made a stupid play or they played like ass. If someone plays great, makes a great play, helps win a game, whatever, we say that. So we're trying to be as honest and objective as possible. Sure, we have our favorite players, and we have our players we don't like as much. But when someone plays well, we say so. When they play poorly, we say so. That's just the way I think that actually every fan should be, to be honest. I mean, that's just, if you're not commenting in that manner and you realize somebody is playing poorly, but you refuse to acknowledge it, that's weird to me. I mean, it's not like you're a coach and you got to worry about hurting his feelings or worry about hurting the player's feelings or how he's going to react or if it'll affect his play. You're a fan sitting in your basement.
Right.
It's like, who the fuck, what just call it as you see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Call a spade a spade. Right.
The whole I'm gonna back Jake Allen regardless of how shitty he's been for his career. Because he's the Blues goalie, I can't be mad at him. Bullshit. That there is no argument there. That's just blind fandom.
Yeah, you're not.
But Bill, he had one good series 3 years ago.
It's analysis.
Shut up, Lance.
I'm not. This is not fanboy central or fangirl central. Where this is analysis. We're trying to just discuss what actually happened in a game. And if you're not going to say what actually happened in a game, if someone played poorly, fucking say so.
Yeah.
Or if they played great, fucking say so. If you're not going to do that, what fucking credibility do you have? I don't get that.
None.
Yeah.
None.
That's me. If you know what, if you want to, sit in your basement and watch TV and root and be a whatever and just never say bad words about a player, no matter how they play, that's fine. But I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna be vocal about it to the world on social media, that's another story. Then then you just open yourself up for criticism, and I think that's you need to accept that because that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we done talking about this game?
You want to be?
Are we gonna open the show up? We should do it now if we're going.
We can open the show up now. Yeah, let's do that because I can go through some of the hot takes we got today that we asked for, and there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, we got a lot of them.
So
thank you, fans.
While you're doing that, my vamp will be okay. I brought this up before the show started with you guys, but if we're opening it up, let's let other people weigh in at this. Over under on goals against over the next two games being Toronto, Winnipeg. I've got over under at 13. Go.
So we were talking off air about what to expect against Toronto. Curt's actually in the camp that he thinks they're going to come out trailblazing and play well. I say trailblazing as
you're putting words in my mouth too.
I say trailblazing as in like they will actually win a goddamn game, and play decent.
Sorry, Jokic Hesh is not on this team. They're not going to come back and win 6-5 in overtime.
Unbelievable!
All right, so we can get you're over under for 13 for the next two games.
13.
That's I'm gonna go under just because
it's a pretty ridiculous.
It
number.
It is ridiculous, but I'm gonna go under. But you know what? It would not surprise me.
So you know what? I'm actually gonna go under as well, and only because I think they get thrashed in Toronto, but I don't know what it is. I've just got this feeling that they're going to play well against Winnipeg.
I say
Ryan Reeves is not going to play in Winnipeg.
I think they beat Toronto. I think that's one of those games where it's like, oh, we go in as the underdogs big time. Toronto's playing really well. Blues are playing, like a monkey. I've been saying lately. My favorite phrase.
Monkey fucking a football.
And then we happen to win like 4-3 or something. I think I can see that happening. So
I can't. Sorry.
It would not shock me in the least if we lose 6-0. But I'm just saying that I can see a turnaround like that happening because it's sports. We asked for hot takes earlier today, whatever folks wanted to say, and we got a number of them. So we can read some off to you now. Register and vote on Twitter said if Bouwmeester is paired with Petro, the Blues will lose, which they did.
Accurate take.
Yeah. Let's see. Fabry's Hair said Jake Allen puts together a career year and debuts his new "Suck It Haters" helmet as the playoffs start. That might be a. I don't think hot take is the
optimistic take.
Yeah, the crazy hot take.
Maybe. Yeah. Fangirl's dream.
St. Louis Game Time. Our friends at St. Louis Game Time said the concourse doesn't have condiment stations anymore. They have little bowls with packets in each counter.
Yes.
No stand had catsup, which he spelled it KATSUP, which is just outrageously wrong. Sunday night. How am I going to eat without any catsup?
Maybe he actually does like catsup.
I hate people who say catsup. It's fucking ketchup. Always has been, always will be. Catsup.
There's not a difference between the two?
No.
There's not.
No.
I've always believed there's a difference because why would anybody spell it that way?
I'm sure there's a history behind it. I don't care what it is. Catsup's wrong.
You learn something new every day.
Every fucking person says ketchup, but if does anybody actually verbally say catsup? Everyone says ketchup. Now, how you spell it might be a different story.
So the fine people of Collinsville,
right? Well,
they beg to differ.
It's Collinsville. Come on, it's the arm of the Metro East.
To their point, when I went to the game on Sunday against the Ducks, I ordered a hot dog and I asked the lady, I go, so where are the condiments? And she kind of pointed over, and I go, yes, that's not condiments, right? Isn't that just like straws and lids? And she's like, no, there's a bowl with condiments in it. And I go, a bowl? And I walked over and yep, that's what it is. Little packets. And I'm like, good fucking Lord, really? Like you can't have dispensers?
The dispenser's the way to go. We got hot dog. You're getting 2 or 3 packets, and you tear them open and squeeze them. And you never get all the ketchup and mustard out of the packet.
And maybe it was just where I was at, but they didn't have any relish, which I know I'm crazy. The only time I get relish on my hot dogs is when I'm at a sporting event. There was no relish to be found. I was very upset.
So, the honest question here, though, Jeff, is Why hot dog over poutine?
I think I told you when we had the show when I had the poutine. It's just, I mean, it's good, and I'll probably get it again, but it's just not. It's not poutine. It's Midwest poutine.
Why not Lion's Choice?
Now, I will say that I wanted to go to Lion's Choice, but the lady was like, "No, I want to go to Sugar Fire." So we walked all the way over to Sugar Fire.
And you got a hot dog.
And, well, no. And then she goes, "Oh, yeah, they don't really have anything I want." So I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Well, okay, first off, why do you have to get something the same place she does?
Right.
Why can't you be your own man?
Says a divorce guy.
I'm being well played. However, my point stands. I think a few men out there with it when I, grow up here.
No, you're right. I could have, but I was trying to be. It was our anniversary celebration.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to be good. Like, well, we're not going out to dinner, but we can at least eat at the same place.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a hot dog, and she had nachos.
So romantic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who chooses nachos over Sugar Fire?
She said the Sugar Fire. You want to hear something weird? She doesn't like sandwiches at all.
Like
sandwiches.
Is it a bread thing or is it
she loves bread. She eats bread all the time.
So it's the lunch meat thing.
She won't know any kind of sandwich. She doesn't like burgers.
Face? Horseshoe?
No, she eats.
I don't know that I could ever have a conversation with Jessica again. Ever.
And I don't think you should.
Yeah.
Thank you. What like a grilled cheese?
She does eat grilled cheese. That's the one thing she'll have.
Because we're okay. So like all right. So Aaron is joining the show. He was with
Aaron Knox.
Yep.
Knox. How are you, sir?
Could have been better, but
You're from Minnesota, right?
South Dakota.
South Dakota. That was close.
I was gonna say North Dakota. Damn.
It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing.
So first off, do you like sandwiches?
Yeah, that's weird. I've never heard of that before.
Thank you.
That's really weird.
Coat to paint to not like sandwiches. There's a lot of different kinds of sandwiches cooked a lot of different ways. You got your Jimmy John's, you got your loaf bread sandwiches, you got your Penn Station heated kind, you got Quiznos,
hoagies and grinders,
and
hoagies and grinders.
All kinds of
right. And you got the weird people that argue that hot dogs are sandwiches, and
that's just a blasphemy.
Tacos are sandwiches,
They're not. They have different names. They're not called a sandwich.
Right. Yeah, it's not a hot dog sandwich. No.
Like I said, you got your weird people that say that.
People that call hot dog sandwiches are just an odd bunch. That's just a weird thing to do.
Right. I feel like they're just contrarian. They're pot stirrers.
So, Aaron, what's on your mind tonight?
I really do believe that this is not some of the goals, but just the play is on Yo and company. I mean, I have a hard time looking at Shen, Schwartz, Petro, Tarasenko, all these players that were great, phenomenal last year and now are bad, and saying they're bad now.
Is it just do you think it's just a thing where, okay, we're 6 games into the season, still fairly early? Is this, in your mind, in your opinion, is this a thing where you think major changes will have to be made, or do you think they'll kind of pull out of it?
I think we'll pull out of it a bit, but I still think a coaching change might be necessary, because there's no chance that Petro goes from having a near Norris year, Schwartz goes from having a near Selke year before getting hurt to being awful.
There's a YouTube question in the YouTube chat for you, Aaron.
Okay.
From Deanna Walker. Says, Aaron, did you bring your apple juice tonight?
Here. It's empty, but I still have the same. I haven't thrown it out yet. I have water though.
I think your appearance on the show with your apple juice was a thing of legends now.
Apparently, it caught on.
It's a thing.
I wish I had apple juice.
It's gonna go viral, Bill.
Viral?
As the kids are saying nowadays, it's gonna go
You
viral.
say?
Yes.
On Insta?
You see that? I used I said something earlier in the show and reused it later in the show as a joke. That's comedy.
Is that a call?
That's a callback.
In its proper context, yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Yeah, I think I don't Jeff, are you a Yo fan?
Are you serious?
I mean, well, as far as like, okay, if you were to hear tomorrow that Yo was fired, which won't happen, but if it happened, would you be like, yeah, that was a good move, or was like, oh, I'm not sure I'm too happy about that?
I feel like I've made it pretty clear, my friend, that I am not a Yo fan.
Okay, and I know Bill's not. I'm not. So okay.
I think all three of us said that was not a very good hire.
But,
yeah.
Okay, so the question, honestly, I think though, is who's the replacement? What are you gonna just promote Berube? He's had what, 6 weeks of head coaching experience with Philadelphia, and that didn't go so great. But so
yeah, that's not my job.
If they
that's
were
that's the GM's job to find a coach.
the timing for getting rid of Yo, the best timing would have been the end of last season. They missed the playoff. They had the perfect out. We missed the playoffs. He didn't live up to expectations. Nobody's going to complain that he's gone. Barry Trotz is hitting the free agent market after that run. Nobody would have predicted that the Caps could actually go and win the cup and not retain Trotz. But Barry Trotz is the head coach of this team. Oh,
you know what?
I think that we would not be talking about a 1-in-5 team.
I think I agree with you. I've never been a Trotz fan, but I think if you have a chance to hire the coach that just won the Stanley Cup, because his record before the playoffs was abysmal,
right?
Awful. So, but he of course did what he did last year.
So the last time the Blues did that, though, hire the guy that won the cup.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you can put them in the same boat.
Yeah, no.
Keenan,
entirely different people.
Right. I say they also gave Keenan the GM tag,
right? Which
Keenan,
was a bad idea.
Yeah, they gave him way too much power. And
didn't he insist on that though? I mean, he wasn't. He was not going to come here unless he got the GM job too. So, which as a coach, I get it. I get wanting that power because then you can basically build the team you want and coach the team. I mean, and he
bring
did
in all the Adam Creightons of the world,
all the former Rangers and Oilers you can get, and
Blackhawks.
Could you see that nowadays?
No, unless it's junior hockey. No.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it with junior, but in the NHL, I don't think you'll ever see that again. To be honest,
probably not,
unless you have a team just completely operating on a shoestring budget.
Next on the hot take list, Dustin Paul earlier today. Yo doesn't make it through December.
Not really a hot take.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that's fact at this point. And Bill, to your question, who do they hire? I liked Curt's answer of it's not my job.
Right.
Hey, as a fan, it's my job to fire the head coach, but it's not my job to replace.
Right. And that's the greatest part about being a fan.
What I know
all
is
you have to do is take a position.
I know what hasn't really worked out the way it should have, or the way that they'd hoped. I can see that's not working right now. So I mean, how much longer do you go with it? And I know that there's execution on the ice is one thing. It's hard to pin some of that stuff on the coach. When like Parayko's pass tonight, I can't blame Yo for that. I mean, he didn't make the pass.
That is a player not executing.
Right, exactly. And but if your system comes into question, or your matchups come into question, your lines come into question,
your overuse of Jay Bouwmeester.
Yes, and if you're alienating players, stuff like that. That's the problem.
I'll give you someone that I would at least consider. Now again, this might seem crazy. But Curtis Sanford, no, I'm just kidding. No, you think, and it's funny because you think about every year there's that hot AHL coach or junior coach.
I think we're on the same page.
That every single person, every team is rumored to be interviewing. Oh yeah, this guy, everybody wants him. What?
Stubby clap.
Not stubby clap. Just what? 5 years ago, Dallas Aikens was a guy rumored to interview with 31 NHL teams. Well, I guess 30 NHL teams. And the Oilers hire him. He goes, what, 1 year, maybe a year and a half, and sucks. And now he's gone off the face of the hockey map. I don't even know what he's doing right now. And it's like there are so many coaches who have had that moment in the NHL that didn't work out. And you could probably put Davis Payne in this boat. That
I was going to say
that you just don't. You say, well, that's the hot coach right now, but 2 years later they're gone. So why not give one of those people a chance and see, hey, you know what, Dallas Aikens, you might have only won 40 games out of your 120, but you had a shitty roster in front of you. Let's give you a chance. I mean, there's plenty of coaches out there like that.
We have, let's see if he's with us here.
His mic's muted.
Yeah, I know. I just muted it.
Towards the ceiling.
Can't unmute it. Vincent, if you can unmute yourself. Are you with us? Vincent has joined us.
I see his face. I see sunglasses. He wears sunglasses at night.
That's not the words.
So he can. So he
fan. There he is. I think you're muted. Can you
unmute it, buddy?
Vincent?
Curt, can you?
I muted you because there was a lot of like background noise, but I can't unmute you.
This is great radio here.
Right.
Yeah. If you can,
we need a vamp sign.
If you can unmute yourself, Vincent, we can.
So if you scroll across the screen, you should see a microphone with a dash through it,
and
just click.
Other button, you got rid of your camera.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, again, thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah. While he's working on that, another hot take we got from St. Louis Game Time again. If Bouwmeester continues to play so many minutes, he will be LTIR by New Year's Eve.
That seems pretty far out.
Roby diet.
They also
Roby diet, yeah.
The Game Time also tweeted out Robert Thomas needs more minutes, but he can't earn more minutes by playing so few minutes. And today would be the ultimate few minutes. Really.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, at least it wasn't Thorburn that he was playing in place or wasn't. True.
Let's see. What else we got?
What's the name of the Marlies head coach? Because that's where I thought Jeff was going with this.
Oh,
with the coaching. I forget his name, but he might be in consideration. He should if Toronto would.
Sheldon Keefe.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah,
that could be one.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That's one guy who's going to have an NHL coaching job at some point, probably next season. That's a guy I would look at right now for sure.
You said AHL, and I thought we were on the.
There we go. I have fixed the Vincent volume issue. So if you can hear us, Vincent, are you there?
I can hear you. I'm just I'm late getting in because I was at work and on my way home from work. But
that's cool.
I'm just thinking to myself, and you guys may have covered this already, but I can't think of any playoff caliber teams that give up a goal in the first minute and the last minute of the game and expect that team to really be able to go anywhere. It's only 6 games into the season, but these points now are just as important as the points that are lost in the last week of the season.
Yeah. I agree with you that I mean we talked about this last year about having points in the bank, and how we do not have points in the bank right now. So getting I mean. Because you figure, well, you want to get off to the best start you can because you may struggle later on for a stretch. and you get those points in the bank, and it's like a cushion. So now you're just digging yourself a hole, really. And yeah, I agree with you. The goals and those are killer. Goals in the first minute of a period, last minute of a period, especially start of the game, end of the game. My God,
the start of the game and the end of the game is it for me. That is just, I don't know how. I mean, you can't blame the defense. You can't blame the penalty kill. You can't blame the lack of speed, the lack of scoring when it's 40 seconds into the game and a goal is scored. Yeah. And 10 seconds left in the game and a goal is scored.
I think you're going to have those anomalies. You know, it's going to happen. I'm sure if you go back and look at all 82 games last year for the Washington Capitals, I'm sure there was a time where they gave up a goal late, or they gave up a game early, or a goal early. But it just seems like for the Blues, it's something that happens. I don't want to say that particular thing happens a lot, but I feel like a lot of times we see this team almost like they're not ready for the game to start, and their heads aren't in the right place when the game is ending. I mean, you think back to that game last year when Duncan Keith scored that goal against the Blackhawks late in the year. It was the second to last game. What?
That was 9 seconds to go, too.
Yeah. I mean, you think back to that and you say, that's not something that should happen to a playoff caliber team. They don't let that kind of thing happen. And you don't let a play like Chris Butler hooking that guy down to get a penalty to lead to that power play goal. I mean, you think about that kind of stuff and it makes you say, yeah, this is not a cup caliber team. But Vincent, the one thing that I will emphasize that is positive is that we have to try and remind ourselves this is a new forward group and that they're still figuring it out, and they're going to have lapses like they had tonight. But, I mean, as much positivity as I want to shine on this, they got to figure it out quick.
Do you know what bugs me about the folks that, and there may be very well be something to it, where we've got a bunch of new forwards this year. Half the forwards are new to the system and the team. I get that there may be a learning curve there, but I look back at last season with Vegas, the whole damn team was new to each other, and they got off to this fantastic start. Had a great season, went to the finals. So I guess every team is different, and I hope that is the case with the Blues. I hope that this is just a growing pains thing where once they push each other more and more and become more acclimated and become more comfortable with where they are on the ice, things will start to click better. The transitions will be better. Fewer mistakes on the ice. People trying to not do too much on the ice to cover for somebody else, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Things that you can
we do something, which is, of course, probably it's fun for us and it's meant for fun. But during the game, a couple of us interact on Facebook, and we have something that we call the Shaky Jake Challenge. And the Shaky Jake Challenge is where we pick what shot Jake Allen will let a goal in the game. And it is pretty fun, especially the stuff that goes with it. Now, saying that, and we talk about all the things that he needs to do, I think there's only one game this season out of the 5 he's played where it's been the 10th shot. Everything else has been less than that. Yeah. First shot, third shot, fourth shot.
What is this a Facebook group you're in?
Yes.
What's the group?
This is the Quest for the Cup group.
Okay.
And it's with the Z, right?
What is it?
Blues with the Z. Quest for the Cup. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And it's really there. We're there for a lot of fun. You know, a lot of us have been Blues fans a long time because we're old. But we play the Shaky Jake Challenge. I actually came up with that. And it's in fun because I want him to succeed, because if he succeeds, the team succeeds. But we have to laugh because otherwise you want to cry or you want to throw your phone or you want to kick the dog. So we laugh about it.
I like that better than the contest that who scores the first goal. I like that better.
Yeah.
I like the Shaky.
Yeah, well, the Shaky Jake Challenge is awesome. That's our little thing. And I know the Game Time group had the shots for goals, and what was really, really weird, that picture on the Post-Dispatch on opening night, on the front page of the Post-Dispatch with the shots for goals, I am the guy in the white Tony Twist rookie jersey. that said, we do the shots for goals. Well, it wasn't me. It said that it was Dan Riley that actually said that. It wasn't me. But I sent a note to them tonight that they need to change the shots for goals to shots for saves is what they really need to change that to. Because that's just what it's got to be. The first shot, the third shot, it's a long-suffering Blues fan. So,
yeah, and I know that it's a hilarious joke, and I'm 100% on board with you guys continuing that tradition. But a lot of that's a defense. I feel like this team just does not seem like they're ever fully prepared for a game to start. And I know that's kind of like I don't know what the word is, but I know that's kind of like a thing with hockey fans that, our team didn't show up in the first 5 minutes. But with the Blues, it almost seems real. There's a lot of times where it seems like the other team just is raring to go, and the Blues just do not step out of the gate with any kind of emergency.
Part of being 50 and in that group is you can say what you feel and not really concerned about it. And then what I some of my thoughts are, and I was there when they moved from the arena to the Kiel Center for the first time, and I was there at the arena. But I saw Chris Pronger have this wonderful season, and then Chris Pronger had a kid, and his entire game changed when he had a kid. My life changed when I had a kid because I was far less reckless once I started having children. And I just know you got triplets, you're not getting the sleep you need. Your mind isn't exactly on that game all the time. And I think, didn't Jake have a kid last year? Or
yeah, Jake had a kid last year. I think it was widely publicized. It was completely not planned, and
I just think that has something to do with it, and not knocking either one. I just think it's a reality. Pronger's game changed completely. He wasn't that nasty guy with the stick. He just wasn't that nasty of a guy after he had that child. And Petro's not the player he was last year.
How old are you, Vincent? You said?
Me, I'm 50.
50. I'm 44. So I'm almost with you.
You're Chris Pronger.
I'm Chris Pronger this year. 44.
There you go.
50,
I'm going to set the phone down to finish a few things before I go to bed. I'll still be listening, and I may jump in. But I love the show because I would drive back from St. Louis, Missouri, all the way back to almost Springfield, Illinois, and listen to KMOX when they had the balls to actually put on a call-in show. Which, of course, they have their sports open line that they take absolutely no calls for at all anymore. So I love the fact that there's people that want to talk about the game after and break down from the fan side of it or from the side that is not paid to talk about how great of a skater Lamont Sanford is out there on the ice. Because I heard Joey Vitale talk about the speed. It was either Joe or I was driving into work, so I listened to part of it on the radio and talk about the speed that Sanford brings to the game, and I just don't see that either. But
yeah, that's why 7 years ago when we first started talking about doing a podcast, we that was part of the deal. It was because there was just too many folks that we didn't feel were given like their honest takes because they were part of the not to say on the payroll, but just they had jobs they wanted to keep. And
yeah, well, that's it. Let's see, where was I coming from the night of the Blues Hawks game? I was driving home and listened to the Duncan Keith Love Fest and about how great it was. This was Chris Kerber talking about how great it was that the Blues sat on the bench and watched that for such a great player, and dropping the puck right there on the center of the ear of the Blackhawks, face and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, there's no way he would have said that if Chase was sitting next to him. Chase wouldn't have put up with it. And now you got Joey V there, and Joey V, he needs this job. So he pushes the team. I like him calling the game, but he pushes what the team wants him to push, or he's going to push their line, where Chase probably spoke a little more freely. I love the story where Chase said he was on the plane with the guys after somebody didn't stick up for something. He took him to task for it, and the players said, told the Blues that they didn't want Chase flying on the same plane as them, and all he did was walk past every one of them, and no one would look him in the face because they knew they were wrong. I forget which podcast that was or one of the radio programs he on. It was shortly after he was leaving the broadcast job, and he was talking about that and said none of the team toughness, the team mentality isn't there.
I think that was,
and they wouldn't look him in the face.
I think that was on the Tim McKernan podcast. If I'm
very well could have been.
Yeah,
it's a great story.
Oh, it is. Yeah, for sure. But no, that's, I mean, Kurt's right. That's why we started this show. You know, we've always wanted to make sure we tell it like it is, and that's why I'm glad the podcast game is kind of blown up in St. Louis for Blues Podcast, because you're getting real people talking about the game, and honestly, like you said, your Facebook groups too. You know, people sharing their opinion. That's what it's about, and I don't feel like we get that enough with modern media.
Well,
I'm going to listen for a while, guys. I'll drop off from it, but I'll be listening.
Okay, cool. Thanks for listening in, Vincent. Appreciate it.
You bet.
We got let's see, some more hot takes here. From I can't even, what is that even a word? It's upside down. Their handle's a DBSTL, I guess. The Beer Garden. Oh, that's in response to Game Time tweet. Game Time tweeted out. Let's see. Well, no.
What is going on there?
DBSTL says, why are there so few TVs on the concourse and almost none on the stands? None of the stands. We'll get all we get are LED screens showing only ads. Game Time says, the only ones in concession stands are tiny and blurry. Jack Daniel's bar, where the store was, TVs are small, not enough. And then DBeebs STL, the Beer Garden has them, and that's pretty much it. Apparently, there's a lack of TVs. I didn't notice when I was at pregame, the two preseason games. I didn't notice the lack of TVs.
I didn't notice it in the game against Anaheim either. Maybe I don't know. We kind of stayed in our seats the whole time, so maybe that's why.
Although I come to think of it, I don't recall seeing a lot of TVs in the concourse as you walk. But let's see what else we got here. Anything else good? Mr. Blues Hat says the Blues struggles stem from a combination of gray paint in the arena and letting Angela Sharp go.
You know, I spoke to Angela earlier this week, I think. I don't know. What day is it? Wednesday? I don't know.
Tonight?
But yeah, we spoke recently, and she's doing good, and she's loving her life, but I still get the sense she's a little heartbroken over not still being the Blues chick, and that's a shame. I think a lot of people feel that because she was good. She was good at what she did. So I'm with you, Mr. Blues Hat. So I do have a couple comments here. So when I posted the show on Facebook, Zach Detoli says, when do we hit the panic button? I can't talk. When do we hit the panic button? The team as a whole looked great in the third until that whiff from Parayko with 9 seconds left. So let's ask you guys this. When do you hit the panic button?
I think after this road trip, if there are no signs of life after this road trip, you've got to hit the panic button. What I was trying to get to earlier was if there's anything to be optimistic about, tonight was the second road game for this team. Time on the road is going to help players, to gel and come together. I mean, if there's a huge blow up in the locker room that could be heard on the, post game presser, maybe it's a little too late. But I think this will give them time to to come together, and for players who haven't had enough air in their away from their personal lives, this is their opportunity. But man, these next two games are going to be very fucking difficult.
I'm going to say for me, I guess I need to know what you mean by panic button, like where before we like, okay, it's time to make a coaching change kind of panic button, or it's time to, well, which is what, like one of the few things you can do actually. But I would say a little bit later still. I would say game 20, but only because I think that's typically my kind of benchmark for where, like last year we talked about, which
last year's a
Last year is a bad example, but that's the exception to the rule, I think.
Right.
For the vast majority of the time, after 20 games, you kind of can tell who's who and who's what. And I think you're almost a quarter way through the season, so you kind of know what you have. Anything that was going to materialize should have by then easily. Right. So I think to me, I think around the 20 game mark. Now, if the team's playing really bad, like they just can't win, and they're like 2-12-4 or something, that we were at 15, 16 games. Okay, then I say that's then a little earlier. But I think if they can manage to play 500 hockey for a little while, if they're still like, I'd say 20 games.
Yeah. So playing 500 hockey is a pretty big stretch at this point. I honestly don't think that anything. Well, nothing will surprise me with Doug Armstrong. He's willing to take a big risk and make a change. Davis Payne, I mean, how soon into that season did he bring in Hitchcock just because he didn't like what he was seeing? If he can line up the right guy to come in and replace Yo's just, he doesn't have a winning pedigree. He doesn't appear to have the locker room.
We talked about his 4 years coaching the Central.
Yeah, fourth,
fifth, or whatever it is. Yeah, he's never finished higher than fourth in the Central.
Yeah, and it's. I think you're looking early. I don't know if it's 20 games, but early November, I think is the true point. This road trip, I think you can't stop.
I can't stop. These cinnamon yogurt pretzels are delicious
because you can't and you don't.
So when I want to hit the panic button, because I've been kind of on the side of early in the season, new forwards, give it time. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of after tonight, I'm saying this has got to be figured out sooner rather than later. And I posed the question to you guys last week. What do you do if you enter that Winnipeg game coming up? Was it next Tuesday or next Wednesday? Whenever the last game of this road trip is. What do you do if you hit that point? Yeah, what do you do? What do you do if you hit that point and you still haven't won a game? Now, they won against Calgary, which was great. But what if they go winless except for that win? At that point, do you say we really need to re-examine what's going on here? And I think Doug Armstrong's going to have to. I think he's going to have to look at this and say, we got to do something. I mean, whether it's sending a guy down or putting someone through waivers, Jay Bomeister, or firing the coach, you got to do something. I mean, you can't go. I mean, at that point, if you lose that Winnipeg game and you lose the Toronto game, what are you? You're 2-5-2. You can't start the year that way and expect to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think it probably will come down to also how they're losing these games. I mean, the way they're losing now is kind of bad. I think if the Saturday game in Toronto is, I guess you could look at it as it's a really big game because that game has the potential, like Bill said, we might lose 6-0 or 6-2 or whatever. We might get blown out. If we get blown out after tonight's embarrassing loss and the way the season started, that could be a problem for. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people, and I think.
Can I jump in here?
Sure. Go ahead.
Only and just to interrupt. You talked about if the coach would make a waiver move or do something. Back in 1990, and I posted this up the other day on might have been a different thread. It might have been one of the other Blues threads I belong to. When they were asking, what do you do with Bomeister? In 1990, Gordy Roberts was the 7th defenseman on this team. Had a pretty good career, an NHL career, but he was sent down by the Blues to Peoria, and that was their massive year where David Bruce and Dominic Lavoie, Michel Mongeau, Tom Tilley, all those guys ran there all the way at their 18-game win streak and went and won the Cup that year. But they sent Gordy Roberts down to work with the kids, and they said they'd find him a deal where they could find him one. And Gordy Roberts got picked up by the Penguins and won the Cup 2 years in a row. And I think they need to take that approach with Bouwmeester. Says, we just don't have a spot for you. There's no trade clause, but we're going to send you down to the minors. And if you don't go, you don't get paid. Go down. We'll find you a spot. Teach the kids. We'll find you a team that's acceptable to you. And you send him on their way. And they did that with Gordy's. Salaries were way different back then. But Gordy Roberts flipped that into 2 Stanley Cups by going down, teaching the kids, working with the organization. They found him a great fit. And I think they should look at that for Bouwmeester.
I don't know if he would go down, and I don't think he would play.
But then he doesn't play. Then you say, well, then you're not playing.
Well, and I'm on board with that. But I think that the first step for the Blues and Yo would be to, if you're going to progress to that point, don't play him on the top pairing for starters.
Yes.
Play him on the third pairing and ease him out of it, maybe. Let him see the writing on the wall, maybe, or something. Or have him be a healthy scratch for a few games.
My theory with Bouwmeester is he was Doug Armstrong's boy when Doug Armstrong was the general manager of Team Canada for those, either the Olympics years or the Canada Cup years, the World Cup, whatever those series they were playing, the international years. And he rewarded Bouwmeester's play when he was still a bit younger and still an Iron Man for Team Canada with Blues money and a Blues contract. He gets the no-trade deal. He gets this big deal, a long deal. But he was Doug's boy for Team Canada, and you can't pay him that way while he was playing for Canada. But you can pay him that way when you're playing for him for the Blues. So I've always believed we are stuck with the salary that he should, that he got because of his play with Team Canada. Doug rewarded him with that. Now, there's no proof to that. That's been my thinking, my theory. And I think it pans out where you can't move him because it's a no-trade deal. I get with David Backes. We gave him a no-trade deal back when we had to match Vancouver's offer. We would have lost him. Maybe we overpaid. Maybe we shouldn't have given the no-trade deal, but we matched that contract. So we had to give him what he was getting there. But Bouwmeester didn't have to have that deal.
You can trade Bouwmeester. He has to waive that clause.
But it's really a no trade clause. They have to agree to it.
They define no trade clauses as they're not really no trade clauses. They're basically give the player the ability to choose where he wants to go. And
is that the same as a no movement clause, or is that different?
No movement means they can't expose them to the expansion draft, and they also can't send them to the minors.
So he doesn't have that, I would think. I would think he probably has a no trade clause.
He has no trade.
So again, you put him on the third line, you diminish his minutes, you diminish his value as a player, or you accept the role to go down and teach this game to the young kids coming up in San Antonio, and we will do our best to find you a fit that's acceptable to you and to a contender in the Eastern Conference.
I would love for that to happen. I'm not
sure that this management knows the history of the team. And if they knew the history of the team, they could look back on that. These were moves that, despite the horrible moves Ron Caron and Brian Sutter made, that was a good move because it allowed some of the younger Blues players to play, Robert Dirk and David Featherstone, which had pretty good careers after we lost them. It allowed Jeff Brown to play. Of course, that was the Scott Stevens year, so we had a fantastic defense. It allowed Harold Snepps to finish out his season.
I don't think the Blues are even close to until they start giving Bouwmeester a third pairing minutes and maybe the occasional healthy scratch, which we talked about. Giving him a healthy scratch just for resting purposes would be a smart move. Every 5 or 6 games, give him a healthy scratch. Let him rest.
I like that idea.
If you're going to play him, if you're going to play the guy, let him rest once in a while so he's not exhausted by game time said New Year's Eve or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree with that, but
yeah,
it's kind of the same thing in your business. If you have a business and you've got an underperforming employee, you have to move them on, and you take the loss of paying them unemployment or whatever it would be, or buying out their contract if they're a contracted employee. You have to cut your loss, and you could get value for him and another team to pick him up. If you send him down and he plays well, and you find a team that maybe needs someone. Like Columbus with Seth Jones out. He's not comparing him to Seth Jones, but he could add some leadership and stability there, and you have a friendly organization there with the former Blues players or Blues staff that are working out of there.
What are you going to say, Bill?
I was gonna say, and the moment may have passed, so this probably isn't gonna have the same impact. But if I could swap Jay Bowmeister for Harold Schneps, I would do it right now.
Right now. I think we're all on the same page with Bowmeister. We
Yeah.
in the end, we'd like to see him not be here.
Right.
He is the QB whose skills have diminished. He's the Brett Favre that's come back that tried to play, in Minnesota or whatever. He had a great career. He did well with his Ironman streak, but his skills have diminished. His body's given up on him, and he doesn't deserve to play on the top pairing or the second pairing.
Right.
It's guys just don't know how to give it. I mean, we laugh that Jay Cutler and Jake Allen are brothers. They're the guys that you have supposedly on your team, and they're just not going to get the job done for you. And Jay's getting there. He is that Brett Favre that's getting older. He is the aged Dan Marino. He is the aged. Oh, who else? Phil Simms, where they keep playing, but they really shouldn't be.
We got some more hot takes here from on Twitter. They've mismanaged the kid. Talking about Thomas, I believe. I bet they send him back to juniors shortly after Fabry's back. There's no point in keeping if he is in the press box or only getting 6 minutes a game, which we touched on earlier a little bit. I think we'd all like to see him get some more minutes, or yeah. But
yeah, I honestly am not that upset that he didn't get to play tonight with a call up of Zach Sanford, and not that I think Zach Sanford's a better long-term NHL player, but given the circumstances, let's see him play tonight.
Well, you want to see what you have.
Right.
Zach Sanford's been out for over a year, like Fabry, and you want to see what he can bring to the team. And again, it's not like you're signing. It's not like you're sitting Thomas for an aged veteran that has no business being in the NHL. It's not Dave Scatchard or somebody like that.
Deanna tweeted out in response to the barbecue sauce, or in response to the ketchup conversation earlier. Barbecue sauce, period. Catsup, smash up. Are you guys barbecue sauce or ketchup people? If you have one or the other.
Mall's barbecue.
None.
I'm not really much of a barbecue sauce person. I know that makes me an awful Midwesterner. Yeah. And I wasn't really a ketchup fan until about 5 years ago. So it's hard for me to answer that question. I guess I'd go ketchup.
I'm not a ketchup guy at all. I love barbecue sauce though. I put it on burgers, fries, everything. I love it.
Yeah,
it depends on what
like
you're putting it on.
Sauce in its context, and ketchup, I have to save enough for Julie because that's all that's the only condiment she knows. So I don't dip into that. So
all right, I'm a barbecue sauce guy.
I don't dip into that. I see what you did there.
But never mind.
Let's see. Matt's hot take on Twitter is Mike Yeo hasn't done anything wrong.
That's not correct.
But Mike Yeo has not done anything right.
So what has he done? Finished fourth, fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got here? It about covers most of them, I think. Dustin Paul said, "Is it too late to send in my hot take?" That was a good one. That was a good hot take.
Yeah.
Yes. I got a couple things here on Facebook. So our friend Mike Draper says hashtag Jack Hughes, which I think we can all agree with. For those who don't know, that's the projected number 1 pick in next year's draft. So, yeah, we'll see. And then my mom commented with or pasta, which I gave her a double question mark. And she said, "You said Jessica doesn't like sandwiches." So yes, my mother is right. My wife, who is Italian, her maiden name is Bartolacci, does not like pasta.
That's
what
a
does
fine
she
take.
eat? She is it like a strict pizza diet?
Chicken and pizza. That's pretty much it. That's why
Pops
she has
is
such a
not that
great
good.
figure.
The LSG comment on YouTube chat. Love ketchup, needles, and Parmesan cheese. Typical poor man's cuisine. And he says noodles, not noodles, not needles.
Noodles.
He puts
Yeah.
ketchup on noodles. Oh, okay. It's a separate thought. Love ketchup. He also loves noodles and Parmesan cheese. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I'm a big fan of the noodles. The for those of you who have not been to the spaghetti factory,
Old spaghetti.
spaghetti factory in St. Louis, they have a dish called Mizithra with brown Mizithra with brown butter. Yeah, it's noodles with Mizithra cheese and brown butter. It's amazing. It's very simple. It's just noodles and the Mizithra cheese and brown butter. It's fantastic. It's really good. Not at all good for you, but it's good.
I couldn't tell you the last time it was on the landing.
No, he did say spaghetti. He said spaghetti, noodles, and ketchup and Parmesan cheese. That's disgusting.
Oh.
I was afraid.
Because Deanna said ketchup on noodles ? And he goes, yes, spaghetti, noodles plus ketchup and Parmesan cheese. That's disgusting.
No.
That's like ketchup on your eggs.
I like ketchup as much as the next
You're
guy,
only
but
an
come
aisle
on.
over from pasta sauce, right?
Right. Maybe the same aisle. I don't know.
Right.
Oh, at least go with chili. Chili
That's like
and
the whole
and
Pop
spaghetti's
Tart and
good.
cheese.
Like,
what are you,
sandwich
from
thing,
Cincinnati?
why?
Chili mac. Chili mac's good. Chili mac and cheese, not spaghetti. Macaroni.
If you shop at Aldi, they're in the same aisle.
It's a Greek dish. He said it's a Greek dish. The spaghetti and
I don't care where
ketchup?
it's from. It's
Ugh.
bad.
You get that cheese over on the hill. It smells like dirty feet.
You know, I always
Provel?
say that you shouldn't knock anything until you try it. I don't think I want to try that.
I'm not putting ketchup on my noodles. That's not. I don't like ketchup.
Just wait till the next time you're really,
I hope-
really hungover and have nothing but.
No, I'd eat noodles plain before I eat them with ketchup on it.
Oh, I do not miss my single days for that. Oh, wake up, open the fridge. Oh, all I have is ketchup and mustard and taco shells.
Make a soup.
Oh,
And 12-week-old egg.
yeah.
You go to the Little Caesars and spend $5 on a pizza.
Yeah, that's basically what I would do.
Man. All right, that's most of the hot takes, I think. Oh, no, there's more actually. Golly.
There were a lot of angry people tonight.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
It's not even worthy of discussion. Bomeister has zero business playing more than any of the other 6 defensemen on this roster.
Absolutely.
That's from register and vote.
Absolutely.
Fabrice Harris says, I'm stocking up on my angry memes because I'm pissed as hell. Yeah.
Fabrice Hair, great follow on Twitter for those of you who tweet.
Yeah, he tweets in Mr. Blues Hat Shadow.
Yes. Yes. He's a great follow unless you're Mr. Blues Hat.
He's also Art Lippo's dumb friend, I think was the terminology used this summer. From The Crest.
Oh, the crest.
The Crest, yeah. He called him, I believe he called him Art Lippo's dumb friend.
The crest. Oh, that was a fun week and a half.
Yes, it was. So Aaron, closing
Hi.
thoughts.
Get a new coach. I don't know. Like, there's
He's,
just so many
he's
little
muted.
things.
Did I
Yeah, we can't hear you, buddy.
Am I?
There you go.
There you are.
Good.
Get a new coach.
Okay.
There's just so many like little things that Mike Yo's system has that annoys me. Like the wingers waiting around on the point, the wingers waiting on the boards to make an outlet pass from the defenseman. Just trying to. It looks like they're trying to skate through mud half the time in their breakouts. It's just. I hate his system just because I've seen it before and it drives me insane because it never works.
It doesn't look fluid. It looks choppy to me. It looks out of sync.
No, this is like the same system
I
my junior
know.
team had like 4 years ago, and it drove me absolutely insane because it doesn't work, and it's so easy to read. The winger's going to get it on the half boards and try to make a breakout pass. You pressure the winger, there's no breakout. Like,
Yeah,
it's all they do.
Right. And so you said earlier, Curt, that this kind of, or somebody said that this is kind of like Mike Kitchen hockey, right? And Mike Kitchen, it wasn't, get it to the winger and there's a breakout pass. It was D to D and up the boards. That was it. It was the easiest thing in the world to read and pick off. And, that was the year that we got Eric Johnson.
Which allowed us to get Chad.
We got
Kirk.
the number one pick.
Stewart.
Who's got us. Yeah. Which
allowed us to get Sanford.
Which allowed us to get Zach Sanford.
Yes.
And a good golf cart story out of the whole thing.
Right. And something for us to discuss tonight during the show about, Sanford playing over Thomas. So here we are.
It all stems from Mike Kitchen. There's your next head coach. How about him? Give him another shot.
Now, Quenneville, can you wait till next season for a new head coach?
That's the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I really don't want to. I don't think I can watch this team for an entire season.
Would you want Quenneville back as head coach?
Yes.
Sure.
So if you could get him right now, yes.
You can't though. So I mean, what would you? So if you could, if you were told, hey, Quenneville wants to come back here and coach next season, would you put up with Yo this season and wait until the off season?
The question would be
no.
The question would be can
Ruby.
The question would be, can Stillman afford that? Because if you keep Mike Yo as head coach, your attendance is going to continue to plunder.
Yeah. No. Interim tag
go get a college guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. Interim tag somebody and then hire Quenneville in the offseason. Assuming he wants to coach here or leaves Chicago. Yeah, we have no idea.
Steve Ott, interim coach.
The eye in the sky. Steve Ott.
Where's Jamie Compound when you need him?
LA, right?
Yeah, I think so.
LSG in the YouTube chat says he wants to give a shot to a younger guy to evolve with the league. That is not a. That is, I mean, that's a fair want.
Yeah, it's kind of what Aaron and I were discussing earlier.
Yeah,
giving a shot to a guy who's not been proven yet, and I think that's fair because there's really not any proven guys out there right now. And you look at the dinosaur coaches of the league, and a lot of them just
I don't want to
are not doing well.
I don't want to recycle another NHL coach and have the same 31 coaches in the league over and over again. It gets boring.
All right, so I'm just going to throw this out there. Just not really believing that this would happen, could happen, should happen. But there's a guy who is now coaching the Tucson Roadrunners, the Phoenix AHL team, who was a CBC guy. He was my carpool guy. He hit me in the side of the head with a slap shot from 2 feet away. He is coaching now in Tucson. He's had an astronomical rise. He was a couple of years ago. He was in the USHL last year. Kingston Frontenacs. Jay Verity. He's a young up and comer. Bring him in. St. Louis guy. It's a story everybody will love. Okay. Everybody will forget Mike Kitchen. Mike Kitchen.
I hope so.
Mike Yo overnight.
Guy.
I have. That's my endorsement of the night.
Fine.
That's fine.
You can pretty much say anybody, I think, right now for me. It's like, you know what? Why not? Why the hell not? Yeah, sure.
Kane Van Gate on Twitter. Let's go with him.
Let's not.
Okay. I think we're gonna wrap this show up. This long show.
Yeah. And I don't know. It still feels like it wasn't angry enough.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're assholes to that. We're not too much of an asshole group. So I think
I'm more sad than angry. So
I think I'm more frustrated and irritated than angry.
The first and third goal made me say, "Oh, fuck off," but that was about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like when I left my house to come over here to do this, like I was like, "Oh, this could be a great show. We're gonna say things we're gonna regret. We're gonna have soundbite for weeks to come."
Yeah, well,
You know,
Yeah, I'll admit when I was
sitting your fans and don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Let's be frank.
when I was setting things up tonight, I said, "Man, I even tweeted you. I think I just tweeted you or messaged you guys, fuckity fuck," because I was so angry. That's all I could think to say. And so, yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought we're just going to be yelling and ranting and screaming the whole time, but I guess we came off as more depressed.
yeah.
I'm disappointed in us.
Do you know what soundbite I haven't used?
Auto Parts.
God damn it.
Haven't used that one.
You need to wait till his first goal.
Might be a while.
Ruined it.
All right. Hey, yeah, Aaron and Vincent, thank you guys for joining us on the show. That was fun. That'll do it for this week's episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Curt Price. That will conclude this week's broadcast of Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues, I guess.
Remember, over-under is set at 13 for goals against next 2 games. What do you got?
Let's just do something.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Sport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available. A look at fourth. I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to #1. Now there's no more